Hi, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Starcraft from the Pylon Show. My name is Creighton Olsen, and we're going to be going through everything that's going on in Starcraft this week and next week. A very exciting lineup of stuff today. Let's go ahead and jump straight in to all of this amazing Starcraft action. Starting with, of course, the first 4 items that are the big headline news of the week. The ESL Open Cups, the 2020 GSL Super Tournament number 2, TSL 6, and Cheesadelphia. Let's talk about all those first. Of course, the ESL Open Cups continue every single Monday through this year. Big Gabe, obviously up on top, Hero Marine sort of cementing his place. It's going to be very difficult for Solar to catch up with the lead that Hero Marine has right now. Of course, Hero Marine in a good spot, points-wise, to qualify for IEM Katowice in 2021. The ESL Open Cup Korea ended with Zest 3-2 over Rogue. So Zest walking away with 10 points, Rogue with 5. Zest wins $200, Rogue wins $100. Solar and Stats come out with about 120,000 Korean won at the end of the day, cast by the Cranky Ducklings, Bel Air, Legend DK, TV, 3D Clan, and Inu in Korean. The ESL EU Open Cup, Hero Marine, oh my god, he lost in the grand finals. Clem, that cheeky French boy, taking him out 3-0. I believe this is the second week that I've seen Hero Marine get to those finals and then drop out with a goose egg. So is he washed up just like that one Finnish amateur golfer that we all talk about? It's possible. Start that thread on TL.net, and I'm sure you'll get some really, really good, meaningful discussion. This, of course, cast by Roddy, Wardy, Indy, Bel Air, Steadfast, Chicken Man, PvP, ZG, O Gaming, Trinarch, Maddock, and Kyobex. In the North American Cup, the Korean incursion continues with the North American players. Oh my god, did a single North American make it to the round of 16? Cham, Vindicta, and I guess sort of, kind of? Everybody else, the Europeans and Koreans, just destroying the North American Cup, where Zest takes out Parting in a PvP finals, which I didn't watch, but I'm sure all honorable 25-minute macro games. The NA Cup brought to you, of course, by Pig, Laugh-In Games, Rocklets, Chicken Man, Mapu, and Romsley. Stay tuned for next week's EU, Korea, and North America ESL Open Cups. Of course, by the time you watch this, these results will be decided for the GSL Super Tournament. 8 incredible matches, all lined up. If you guys have not checked out the TL.net post written by Wax Angel, a really good write-up on what these matches look like and who he predicts to move on. I mean, a sick lineup here. And like I said, by the time you see this, these results will already be decided, but what an absolute banger of a tournament. Can't wait for the round of 8 coming up very soon. TSL 6, of course, one of the third events that we're going to one of the third flagship events we're going to talk about today, starts up. This is the first weekend, December 5th and 6th, as it says here. The broadcast is going to feature presents, competitions, surprise guests, and plenty of holiday spirit, in addition to all the prize money and EBT points that you would expect. Qualifiers for this event have been going on this week. They will continue today. Bit of a rocky qualifier situation for TSL 6. I know they've had to change their qualifier format and like how players are signed up and everything, but we'll get the qualified players sooner rather than later and get this main event started. Going to be insane. Be sure to tune in. There's a big TL.net post about some of the fun events they're running. They're going to have predictions again. They announced all their sponsors and everything. It's going to be incredible. A really well-run event. Thanks to Shopify for putting that on. And of course, Cheesadelphia, the premier North American, I was going to say offline event, historically an offline event. Qualifier number 2 is finished up. Armani beating Estrella in the finals, but remember in this qualifier, the top 8 players all move on. So Mio, Micah, Namshar, Estrella, Bunny, SOS, Creator, Soul, and Armani have all qualified for the Cheesadelphia Winter Championships. There is one more qualifier left to go. So for all those players who lost out in the round of 16, Patience, Sort of TLO, Go-Go Joey, Nice Masa, Geralt, and BRY Guy, they might have a chance to make it in the next qualifier number 3, where 8 final players will move on to join these 8. Congrats to Armani for the win, and congrats to all top 8 players for moving on in Cheesadelphia. Of course, our final big event this week has been the Asus Raj tournament. What a unique and interesting event that was. High production quality and high quality games where Micro Jackson himself showed us that he is truly the bomb and the bomb diggity. Here are the group stage results with Rogue, Byun, Solar, and Showtime on top of their groups. If you did not see Group D, Showtime tore through that group. I mean, look at that. DRG and Innovation getting knocked out. Couldn't have seen it coming. Some really intense games from the group stage, but the bracket stage was where all the action happened, with Rainer, Maru, Solar, and Byun rounding out the semifinals, and of course that TVT Grand Finals. Even if you don't like TVT, friends, please go check out some of those events, especially the Grand Finals. Just insane. Byun went from out of the military to a champion of a premier tournament in 3 months. Insane. Check Byun's Twitter, by the way, which I believe there are 3 tweets in the past 3 months, and it's 1, I'm out of the military, 2, Byun is back, 3, champion Byun. That's it. That's all he had to say. Cast by Alpha X, me, Roddy, Wardy, O Gaming, Bel Air, Indie Take TV, and a number of other foreign language streams as well. Asus Raj, a great event. Really excited to see Asus continuing their support of the StarCraft 2 scene. Olimo League. We're into the weeklies now. Olimo League happens every week, and of course this week, Rogue took out Cure in a Game 5. Phenomenal end. What a great series that was. I get to catch Olima League every now and then, and Maynard and Crank just do an incredible job shepherding these players through this bracket. Cure, Dream, Stats, and Rogue all doing a good job. Olima League happens every week. Be sure to check it out on Maynard's stream. Congrats to Rogue for 3-2ing Cure in that Grand Finals. The OSC King of the Hill Weekly, another weekly event, and this week an unusual, statistically unlikely result where Seoul popped in match 3 and won all the way through match 13. 11 consecutive wins for Seoul, and since Seoul won the final game this week, he'll be invited back next week, and he could maybe go for a run. The other 2 players that have runs better than Seoul right now are Euthermal with 16 consecutive wins and Kelliger with 15 consecutive wins. So Seoul could hop on that Terran train and maybe become the true emperor of the OSC King of the Hill Weekly. This event will be back, I believe, on Saturday of this week. Taco Cup 6, another OSC event. Clem beating Solar in the Grand Finals, and I believe this entire prize pool is in Taco Bell gift cards. So congratulations to Clem, who can now eat all of the Burrito Supremes that he possibly could ever want. Surely Taco Bell is illegal in France. Surely in France. Some French food minister was like, they want to bring what into the country? No. I mean, right? French people? Is Taco Bell? It's got to be illegal in French. Anyway, Clem wins the Taco Cup, beating Solar 3-1. What a handsome nerd. And what a powerful StarCraft 2 player. The NA Ladder Heroes Initiative, brought to us by our very own resident programmer hacker-in-chief, Fear Dragon. Mio Micah continues to steal the trophy from any North American players. I said it last week and I'll say it again, North American players. If any of you can upset Mio Micah, I'll raise the stakes. I'll give you an extra $25 out of my pocket if somebody can unseat Mio Micah in this NA Ladder Heroes. Nina, Pure Legacy, Cham, Rob, BioIce, you guys, come on, get on it. Ladder Heroes brought to you by Fear Dragon. Very cool stuff, and Mio Micah on top for the 5th week in a row. Damn. We move now into the Alpha X rotation for the day. Of course, Alpha X putting on those events, grinding out a bunch of series. In this one, we see Masa versus Pili Pili. Masa winning 5-2. If these guys don't look like the protagonists of like a buddy karate movie from the 90s, like a kid's movie, where Masa is like the karate champion and Pili Pili is like trying to keep up, trying to learn karate, I would watch that movie so hard. I hope Masa and Pili Pili play again. Masa beating him 5-2 in that best of 9. The Alpha X Series Special finally wrapped up over on Trovo / Alpha X SC2 with DRG taking out Zune in the semis and Dream taking out Creator in the semis. Both of those semifinal matches, by the way, go into a best of 5 or go into a game 5. Man, you know a best of 5's good when it goes to that last game. DRG beating Dream 4-2 in the grand finals. I'm sure you can check out the replays over on Trovo and learn a little bit more at the Alpha X Discord, Patreon, and TL pages. The Alpha X Junior Championships. Of course, this is the championship that's opened to all players under the age of 16, players who can't compete in the ESL circuit. Cast by Rushy and then Hydrus and Colossus in French, and a rematch, it looks like, of the Alpha X Junior Championship Series 10, where Araj Fire and Ghosty again going up. Araj Fire beating Ghosty 4-1. Look at that adorable nerd, age 13 and better at StarCraft than every single one of us listening to This Week in StarCraft. We ought to be ashamed with what we've done with our lives. Unbelievable play by Araj Fire. The Aojai Weekly. Azure taking out Vivid 3-1, and look at how happy Azure is about that win. I mean, my God, he is just, that picture oozes a 1990s confidence that deserves to have like a laser background in it. Look at, he's making eye contact right down the barrel of the camera. What a Chad. What a Chad. The Aojai Weekly happens every Sunday at 9 o'clock KST, streamed by Red Gunner Guy, who does a lot of work in the APAC region. Aojai is for Vietnamese citizens and permanent residents only. What a great event. Congrats to Azure for the win. Legacy Weekly Japan. This is open, of course, to all participants. The participants have to be in Japan, gotta read, write, and speak Japanese. And this week, Tokisada defeated Kaiman 2-1 in the grand finals. This is, as I understand it, some history was made here, the only StarCraft 2 tournament ever to be won by a bowl of noodles. Tokisada has somehow become sentient. And you remember the old pictures of Lean Octopus where we'd have like 8 arms doing all that stuff? I feel like that's what Tokisada does, except that he's just a noodle bowl. And he's got every noodle is attached to a different key. No wonder his APM is insane. Congrats to Tokisada for taking the win there in the LWJ. CSO Cup. This cup is open to all players, not just members of CSO. So the CSO Cup is open to all players, and here we can see Christianer with a very solid win in the grand finals, 3-0 over Young Yakov. So that Polish Protoss player really showing that young Russian what's up. Well played by Christianer. Interestingly, it looks like only 2 of the matches were not a sweep. Wow. Naz taking a game off of Fierce, and T-Age taking a game off of Mimiron. But that's it. Everything else was a 2-0 or 3-0. Wow. Bit of a one-sided tournament there. Congrats to Christianer for moving it forward. The NetEase Esports Next Winter StarCraft 2 Masters Invitational. We talked about this a little bit last week and the week before, but what a sick group stage with Beyond Time, Trap, and Inno coming out on top. Of course, Groups C and D will be coming up soon. This is brought to you by Wardy, F91, Cloudy, and Max said, always good to see former pros commentating. I wish my Chinese was a little bit better and I could tune into Cloudy and Max said to hear what their take is. Gotta be excited that Time has moved forward in Group A. Like I said, Group C and D coming down soon. Rogue, Rag, Dream Stats, SOS, Dark, Parting, and Solar on the way. Copa Hyperion, a bi-weekly Friday tournament for Latin Americas, organized by Break the Wall Esports with, of course, OSC, open for LATAM citizens and residents only. This week, Cham takes out Jim Rising 3-0. You can check out Copa Hyperion over on the Cranky Ducklings and Mabel's stream. Wow. Man, and I thought we were running out of great names for StarCraft tournaments. Never been more wrong. The Golden Unicorn Cup. Man, that's something else. That's something else. What a sick run from Marsman in the lower bracket, getting the revenge kill on Genies. Look at that, loses to Genies 0-2 in the round of 8, goes down to the lower bracket, takes out Follinger, Gretz, Def Mars, Sunset, and makes it all the way back to face Genies in the grand finals, and edges him out 3-2. What a run from Marsman. Congrats. Fun fact, did you guys know that Marsman is actually studying rocket science in school right now? He is going to be a literal Marsman. It's awesome. Africa World 67. Masa defeating Future 4-2 in that grand finals. Congrats to Masa, Nina, Future, and Pili Pili. Future, Nina, Pili Pili, and Masa in that order. What a good looking tournament, and what fun. Masa winning that over Future 4-2. Masa's been doing really well lately. Africa World, of course, brought to you by Falcon Paladin and Laughing Games, two highly underrated StarCraft personalities, sponsored by Africa TV. You're gonna go check it out on the Africa channels of Falcon Paladin and Laughing Games. Some drunk Canadian bringing us his first of, I believe, 2 events this week. Winner, I'll buy your effing dinner. Goblin winning 4-0 over Trigger. Congrats to Gobbo with a clean win. Did he drop a single game? My God, Goblin with a clean 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 4-0 record. $30 worth of takeout or delivery. Congrats to Gobbo. Of course, this will be happening next week. I think it's every other week, maybe. Over on twitch.tv/somedrunkcanadian. Come hungry, play hard, win some food. And the other food-based event this week, the Pizza Pie Bi-Weekly is back. Max Pax moves himself from the 1-win column to the 2-win column, joining those hallowed halls of Caleb Arrakis, McMonroe, Orion, Masa, and Special, his second pizza of the day. By the way, this is not just a pizza, it's $80 and a pizza as well. Max Pax with some clean wins over B and a good 3-1 over Bly. Congrats to Max Pax for winning this one. Again, you can check this out. If you're not following on along on the show notes, guys, you totally can be. Go to www.ThePylonShow.com. Click on the show notes button, and you can follow along with this spreadsheet. You can also follow, there's a little ribbon underneath all of these that show the Liquipedia, the challenge, the Matcherino, the Discords. If you're ever curious about, you want more information on a tournament, how do I enter, when does it occur, just check out the show notes and you can catch all this information. And this is Some Drunk Canadian's second event of the week with that beaver with a, I've got to assume it's a Canadian lager in his hand. Coming up tomorrow, December 3rd, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, Max Pax versus the World. There's those 90s lasers we were missing out on earlier. Beautiful. You can be one of the 10 players that wants to fight the vivacious Max Pax. Every winner of the game takes home $10. Go sign up at challenge.com/MaxPaxVWorld. Have some fun. You definitely won't get cannon rushed, I promise. Shifting now from Max Pax over to Latin America, Sentimiento Latino is back. The 99th edition will be on this Friday, December the 4th at 5 p.m. Pacific, should be standard time, PST. Cranky Ducklings covering this one. Of course, Grizzly in Spanish and Cosmos take the Portuguese cast. For LatAm residents only, Cham Kelliser and Special, not allowed. Battle of the Americas returns again, cast by the Cranky Ducklings, Enki in Spanish, and Gustavo Loco in the Portuguese stream. $50 prize pool for Latin America and North American citizens. This is it. Football versus football. Maple leaves versus maracas. And I don't know what that bottom picture is of the Latin America side. Is it the 2 trees that remain in the Amazon rainforest? Whatever that is. It's a great representation of Latin America. I love this logo so much. Find something new every time. Coming up on Saturday, December 5th at 4 p.m. PST. Liga Cubana de Starcraft 2. Going to be played again Friday, December 4th. Wait. Saturday, December 5th. Okay, I'm off. Sorry. Saturday, December 5th for this one. Friday, December 4th for Liga Cubana. Organized for Cuban residents only. Should be a really great series. Hey, I'll make you a deal, Liga Cubana. If you want an English language caster for that, all you have to do is send me a box of Cuban cigars, and I will cast this from now until the end of time. My DMs on Twitter are open. If you can hook me up with some good cigars, I'll cast this. No question. The 2020 NA Apprentice Championship is going down. Starting tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're going to have the round of 8, round of day 2, and then the round of 4 and finals on that Saturday. Almost all the biggest names here in North America. Future, Dolan, Jon Snow, Peely, Vindicta, Patty, Mike, Azuna, and Nina. Duking it out. This will be great. Check this out. Streamed by Beowulf and Kozan, 2 fantastic casters on trovo.live/Beowulf. The CSO King of the Hill is open to all CSO players. We see that the Grand Finals is happening here. XPA and Fierce SA gonna go at it in the grand finals coming up. Not actually sure when the grand finals are for this. Hopefully sometime soon. CSO making some waves here. South African, tournament organizers, and they've just been doing a lot more lately. Very good for them. Speaking of CSO, why look, it's the StarCraft 2 Royal, brought to you by Raise Your Edge Gaming. I'm excited. I'm recording this on Wednesday morning. Of course, by the time you see this, the round of 32 and the round of 16 for the StarCraft 2 Royal will be finished up. We'll get into the round of 8 next Wednesday. You can check this out over on twitch.tv/RaiseYourEdgeGaming. It's cast by yours truly. We got Bel Air on the German side of things. We got the 3D clan on the Russian side of things. If you're a French language caster and want to cover this, let us know. We've reached out to a couple of French folks, but they haven't gotten back to us. Anyway, should be insane. I mean, almost all the major teams have submitted the squad. Team Liquid, Alpha X, Team Exxon, Archangel Gaming, Team Roddy, ePunks, GDA Team, Cascade Gaming, Raise Your Edge, of course. It's going to be insane. It's a pro league style. We've moved from the group stage, which was a 2v2 seeding stage, into the regular 1v1s pro league stuff. That's all starting here in a couple hours. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. Almost $3,000 in the prize pool. Platinum Heroes starting up very soon. December 6th, this Saturday and Sunday, is going to be Diamond Heroes and Platinum Heroes. For all those players, Bronze 3 to Platinum 1, $100 on the table. Should be tons of fun. Tune in when you can this weekend. Check out the whole server for Platinum Heroes is really interesting. They offer free coaching, replay analysis, just a really friendly community of folks who are all sort of stuck in that want to get out of the metal leagues and move their way up. Very cool stuff. Again, if you check in the show notes, you can just type on the Discord and join that Platinum Heroes Discord server directly. The Magikarp Masters Cup happening on December 11th, coming up very soon here. Go ahead and sign up if you are bronze to 4,900 MMR and see which of those Magikarps will become a fierce Gyarados, which is not a dragon type. It's water flying? Come on. Come on. Of course Gyarados should be a dragon type. Unbelievable. The OSC Season 8 StarCraft 2 Championships is going on right now. Tons of qualifier events. Too many to fit on one screen. But we're working our way toward who that 2020 champion is going to be. Bunch of qualifier events happening this week, next week, the week after. And you can see on this screen, OSC has done over 675 tournaments so far in 2020. Wouldn't be surprised if they break 700 before the year is over. Insane, insane. Of course, the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters. There's one more premier DreamHack event, major DreamHack event this week, or pardon me, this year, on January 12th. 2021, the last chance before you can qualify for IEM Katowice. That'll be coming up quite soon. And the No Gamer Left Behind tournament starting in late January, where celebrity players will choose a handicap to play with, and they're looking for players of all leagues to go ahead and compete in that. So get in touch with twitch.tv/daw_station if you want a chance at winning that $100 grand prize. And we end this week in StarCraft 2 with some sad news. If you haven't seen it, let's post some sad plain boys in the chat. Pour one out. F's, whatever insincere method of sadness you want to express in Twitch chat. Jin Air Green Wings have announced the closure of both their League of Legends and StarCraft 2 divisions. Coach Herb, SOS, Rogue Trap Creator, and Maru are all off of Jin Air Green Wings. The silver lining, of course, surrounding this cloud is that most of the players have already been picked up by other teams. So it's just the end of an era here. Jin Air Green Wings, I'm sure the folks on the Pylon Show will have talked about this, or will talk about this a little bit more during the event, or during the show. But yeah, tough news to swallow this week. Jin Air Green Wings, thank you. I don't speak for the entire foreign scene, but on behalf of the entire foreign scene, thanks for all you've done and the support you've given and the incredible level of play that Jin Air Green Wings has created over the years of StarCraft 2. We move from StarCraft 2 to Brood War. This splash screen, I was going to say needs updated because it's 2 months old, but honestly, with as handsome as those guys are, leave it. Leave it forever. The Brood War G's Weekly, the only tournament brought to you by Morty from Rick and Morty, has been canceled this week because of the Russian Cyber Games 2020. Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D have all finished now, and we've got our 8 players in that quarterfinals match. Of course, if you want to check out the incredible Russian Cyber Games quarterfinals on through to the end, that'll be playing December 5th and December 6th. Some big name Eastern European players in this event. The 2020 Star BJ Destruction Season 2 is ready for the grand finals. Follow Obong is playing the team that's just named Esports. That's how you know it's a pure love of the game kind of a team. No surprises that the team with Flash, TY, and Brittany going up against the teams with Mute and Poussin and Stork. No question there. Going to be a great finals on December 3rd. So tomorrow, check it out on africatv.com/alphaxsc2. The Rookie Star League for new players with a 1350 MMR cap, moving into the round of 8. NCX, Lanai Shot, Phoenix Ito, and Felpoo moving on in those best of 5s. And of course, the rest of the round of 16 going to finish up sometime this week. Check it out. You can see where to find this on the strip below that's just hidden from this slide, at the bottom of the slide, on the show notes. Check those show notes out at ThePylonShow.com. The Ultimate Battle Event. Light defeats Mini and then Snow to win his 7th and 8th consecutive King of the Hills in a row. Brought to you by Caster Pak. Wow, $300 or $250. If you get a 9-0 victory, that'd be insane. That'd be so insane. But 100,000 won, about $85 USD. Not too bad there for Light. Winning about $170. And speaking of pro-level Brood War players, Tassels himself going up against Juanito starting tomorrow, December 3rd. An upcoming show match between, I love this, the American commentator Tasteless, not the bloodthirsty Ugandan dictator, also named Tasteless. Different guy, totally different guy. American commentator Tasteless and Mexican Pro Gamer Special. Starting tomorrow. Man, I want to stay up for this. I think I need some sleep, but God, this is going to be so much fun. And of course, Artosis and Scarlet have a rematch. Scarlet defeated Artie 4-3 in that game cast by Tasteless and Caster Muse. They'll be going back at it on December 11th. So check it out for Artosis Show Match Series number 2. We move from players who are practically so emotionless as to be mechanical to players who are actually mechanical. The StarCraft AI tournament. This week, Purple Leave defeated New Bot Monster. This is cast every week by Nightcat. You can check it out at twitch.tv/SSCAIT. The Brood War 2v2 King of the Hill coming up soon. Organized by Soul Silver. That's on December 5th. A lot of StarCraft this week, both StarCraft 2 and StarCraft Brood War. Check it out on twitch.tv/GD_silver. And this week in awesome. Oh, my Podcats number 2. That's right. Cats has his very own podcast, and the second episode featuring none other than the handsome nerd himself, Artosis. Please, if you guys have not checked out my Podcats, it is fantastic to hear. I've got a soft spot in my heart for smart people talking about things they're very smart about. I don't care if it's StarCraft or international relations or marketing or good cooking recipes or whatever. If somebody has a deep knowledge on a subject, I can just listen to them just bullshit about that subject for a long time. And Artosis and Cats did a really nice job this week talking about all sorts of different stuff. As you can see in the little bar down there, RTS, anger management, the difference between StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 in Korea, talent versus hard work, life philosophies, all the deep things that leave you scratching your chin, just like Artosis is there. Check it out anywhere you get your podcast. This is run by a very talented producer named Cobra Venom, who I know from some other major StarCraft talk show. Can't put my finger on it, though. Can't put my finger on it. If you're into podcasts, or cats, or Artosis, or StarCraft at all, check out my Podcats number 2. And that's going to do it for this week in StarCraft. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great Pylon show today, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you back more StarCraft 2 news next week. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you then.
What episode is this? Number 113. We just keep... sorry we couldn't make it last week. The producer on vacation, Cobra, needed to see some family and everything, but we are back, and we've got a subject that I was like really ready to do, and excited to have these guys on. So first off, before I introduce that subject, let me just say thank you to all the patrons. Thank you for supporting us, and check out patreon.com/ThePylonShow, where you can, go ahead. What is that ringing? What is that ringing that I hear? You guys hear this?
The white noise?
I hear like...
Yeah, I heard it too. Oh, no.
Okay. I think it was E-Mini. I'm pretty sure.
I will turn this off.
It's back. Okay. Anyways, it's driving me crazy, so we have to figure it out. I'm sorry. Anyways, patreon.com/ThePylonShow. Yeah, there you go. So we're going to be talking about region lock, and whether or not that should remain, what have been the positives, what have been the negatives. This is just like a place to open up the discussion. I did try to get Solar on the show. Thank you, Special, for trying that. He was unable to do it. He's the best English speaker amongst the Korean pros. And we might do some more episodes in the future with other viewpoints and stuff. But I chose you two guys specifically for it because you both live in Korea. You're both friends with pro gamers out here. And you're both non-Korean. So I think it's like we have a very interesting point of view. And of course, Juan, region lock has definitely helped you quite a bit professionally. But you still play at the highest level amongst the Koreans as well, so I think that your point of view will be good. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And now that I've introed the subject, I realize I haven't introed you guys. Special, how are you doing? Welcome back.
What's up? What's up? Oh, I'm doing fine. And you? What about you guys? How are you, everyone doing? Hello. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Thanks for getting up. Is this early for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Well, thanks for coming, man. And E-Mini, Gemini, what is up?
What's good? Thanks for having me on. I know that we're both pulling a bit of a tasteless here, not able to get up usually this early, but we are here, and hopefully it'll be a good talk.
I want to throw it out that it is 11 a.m. right now, so I don't feel bad for you guys, even like a fucking tiny little bit. You should definitely be up by now, or you're wasting your lives. Okay,
you're a fucking boomer. Get out of here.
Yeah, man. I'm up before 7 every single day. I didn't even get home last night.
Man, that's 11. When I'm going to bed.
Oh my god, you're a crazy person.
Not really.
All right, so region lock. Here's kind of, I mean, it's always something that's like reasonable to talk about. First off, what is region lock? Region lock is stopping the Koreans from playing in all the tournaments in the world, right? Like they're basically allowed to play in only specified tournaments. Why was this done? It was done to raise the level of the non-Korean scene because Koreans have always been dominant throughout StarCraft's history until very recently. Yeah, that's kind of like the quick and dirty of it. But the reason why I like really was starting to think about this, obviously, Apollo has been talking about how they're going to talk about next year and what's going to be going on there. Are they going to keep the region lock? Are they not? I thought that the DreamHack results that we saw were kind of like, oh god, the Koreans are really falling off here. Although in Aces Rog they really brought it back and dominated, as we're used to for a lot of StarCraft's history. But I think it's just like an important subject for us to start talking about and getting used to because this is the future of StarCraft 2 that we're talking about, and the Korean scene is shrinking. It's having a hard time in a lot of ways. So yeah, I guess let's just get some of your initial thoughts on the region lock, the state of it, and if it has done its job. Especially, I think it's a great place to start with you, right? Because you're like the 25-time champion of the LATAM qualifiers, right? You've obviously benefited a lot, but at the same time, it's not like you're not good enough to do that. You play in GSL and stuff like that. So, what do you think? Has the region lock done a good job with what it set out to do?
Well, actually, I never paid so much attention to it as much people did, but in a way, it allowed so many people to develop. Like, if the region log was not there, I feel like so many players that we know right now wouldn't probably play because there was no way to make money for those people. So I feel like region log in a way was good, but I'm not sure if it's good anymore.
Okay. A succinct answer. What do you think about how region lock has done so far as its like initial goals, Gemini?
Yeah, I feel like so when region lock first came out way back in like 2014 or whatever it was or earlier, I was like obviously mega not happy because I just like I've always liked the Korean scene more than foreign scene in general, just for whatever. I just always have been more interested in it. So, and all my favorite players are always Korean. So, I obviously did not like it, and I was like super mega against it. I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think it was necessary. Blah blah blah. I was like, if foreigners can't play well, then whatever. Fuck them. Like get good. Basically, let's get good over here. But having gone through it for however many years now, it's pretty clear that the thing that they were looking for, the benefit they were looking to get out of it, did happen, right? Because it did foster a lot it did foster a lot of actual talent to come out from these Western regions. Something that I honestly didn't really expect to happen to the extent that which it did when this first started. So I think it did do its job of what it wanted to do of trying to motivate players in their own regions to try and perform as best they can in practice and actually compete when they know they have something that they could actually achieve. When there's no Koreans, there's no BC tier Koreans just like flying out and then just ruffle stomping everyone and then going home. So to that extent, I think it's good. Now we're in a point where it's much different landscape, and so it's the perfect time to revisit this. And it feel I don't know. There's some complicated stuff I think about it for sure, but overall, I feel like the job that it was trying to do was good. And it did it.
Yeah, I guess we had different levels of region locking through the years. So of course, at the very beginning, if you could get the plane ticket, you could just fly and play any tournament, and everything was very Korean dominated at that point. And then we had the weird WCS thing where they made 3 GSLs: the North American, the European, and the Korean. And that was probably overall the worst esports move, in my opinion, ever made in StarCraft 2. Because it basically took all the players that were famous in Korea. The foreign teams sponsored them and got them visas in other countries. They dominated those areas and lost a lot of the skill that they had and kind of made the Korean scene weaker by leaving. So that was kind of bad. And then we went into the hard region lock, which we've been in for quite some time now. And I mean, obviously, we've seen the rise of a lot of players. There's some like Special and Scarlet that I think we're always going to rise because they've spent so much time in Korea. So maybe it's, but I mean, it's obviously benefited you two as well. But then we've seen the rise of some other players like, Neeb obviously doing a great job, but he spent a lot of time in Korea as well. And then, of course, Serral, being the really big name. I feel like Region Lock was almost made to create Serral. What do you guys think about that?
Pretty much. See, if you kept it the way it was, there would be like, as Gemini said, like, what do you want? 30 Koreans flying to tournaments, and then you would never make like a returnament of your time as a pro gamer in the foreign scene, right? So that's why you see like players in Europe right now that were able to appear because the region lock. Because without the region lock, they wouldn't be playing. I'm pretty sure. I'm 100% certain about that.
Certainly, that has to be the case for some amount of pros. Because I wonder about this sometimes. Like Serral is so good. Would he have been able to get to this level without the region lock? Because I commentated like him in like 2013 or something when he was a little kid against Supernova in a DreamHack. And I actually went back and watched that VOD recently. And in the VOD, I'm like, this guy is going to be one of the very best foreigners. There's no question. Like he is looking so good. Like he's approaching the game exactly correctly. So it's like this, he had that talent. He had, he was playing these tournaments. Would players like him have still risen up, or was the regional lock really needed to have a full base of people that won't play if there's not money there? Do you know what I'm getting at here? Like what I'm asking? Because there's some people that are going to play no matter what. And then of course there are players where it's like, okay, you need to be able to make a living here to put in the time and effort.
Well, I feel like then you need to know person by person deeply. But I obviously don't know. But it would definitely be a lot harder and a lot much more complicated to be able to be a pro if there was no region lock in the Western, especially.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess you can compare it a little bit to the Brood War scene where it's like there's no real money and zero region locking going on, and there's just like no one can put in the time and effort to become pro level. It's like 0%.
It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right.
I feel like for NA it's definitely pretty decent too, because like EU obviously is where you see like the big powerhouses that are coming out, but like NA, for example, like Australia, I mean that this is a more recent thing compared to a lot of the other pro players that have been doing so well recently, like Neeb and stuff like that. Neeb is also a little bit more with just he finished school, so he was able to go full time, and then that's when he blew up. But like Estrella as well, someone that probably felt it was worth it to actually come back again, because he was pretty good for a while, but then he kind of like stopped playing for quite a bit, and then he came back like a year and a half or so ago, and then he just blew up coming over to Korea. And now that he has WCSNA that he could fully easily compete in without having to worry about it, even though he technically could, he could go head to head with a lot of these Koreans out here. Like he's definitely that good now, but still, like having that motivation to know that, okay, I do have this tournament that I can play in that I know I will be able to do well in. It's just a good thing for that. So like it definitely helped in over there as well. However, just to a lesser extent, just because the NA player pool in general is much more shallow compared to EU, so you don't see it where you have like, just a million Rainers, Harstoms, Rainer, Serrals, Clems, Harstoms, all those people. So yeah, it's still pretty good in NA as well.
So overall, like we sometimes hear from Korean players when they take the time to say something somewhat publicly about their thoughts on the region lock. Obviously, Solar has been someone who we've gotten information out because he is the best English speaker amongst the top level pros and everything. But you guys obviously are both friends with lots of pro gamers. What is the general feeling amongst Korean pros about the region lock? Has it changed over time? Just give us any information you have with that.
Well, they obviously never liked it ever. They always were against it because at the end of the day, it's just okay. Now you can play less tournaments. You cannot play this tournament anymore. Go away. So like they obviously never liked it, and I don't think they really cared about like to understand why it was implemented. They just like, well, I can't play. I hate this. It's not fair, especially because we can play in the GSL, right? They were really even more. They were especially salty after that. So, but I mean, what can I do? There's nothing I can do, right? I just follow the rules.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general consensus obviously is that Koreans will not like things that prevent them from playing the game. So that's generally not good from their point of view. I do know specifically, I talked to Hero about this a lot, Liquid Hero, because he was always really against it. Obviously, he's retired now; he doesn't play anymore. But the region locking stuff did really. It benefited him for a bit, and then it kind of backfired on him, right? Because he was really the one that did really well when it was the one that you said you did not like a lot, Artosis, with they could just kind of come over to the different regions and be fine. Because he farmed up NA for a little bit, and he did really well there for a season or a couple seasons. But then when it got hard locked back to Korea, and he had to come back to Korea, that also timed out when Legacy came out, and he didn't really have a good play style with Legacy, so that just kind of like absolutely gutted any motivation to play. So region locking, he's told me, is like a solid reason for why he did not want to play anymore. So there's definitely other stories of that around as well, where the forced region lock back just kind of some of the more mid or the B or C tier players just said like, whatever, okay, congratulations Blizzard, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay. Well, I guess just over time, they've seen the rise of a lot of foreign players that can actually challenge. Obviously, especially Serral. Is there like a connection between the two for them? Like I wonder if they've ever said anything like that with you, where it's like, oh damn, that region lock, like they're getting really good now, like let us back in, that type of thing. Is
What was
there
the
that
question?
feeling? Because I get that. Okay, yeah, it was kind of disjointed. Like basically, since the non-Korean players are so strong now and can win those championships, is there an added feeling of come on, like let the region lock off? Because that's personally what I'm getting. I think a lot of people are getting, where it's like, okay, the region lock kind of did its job. We have a bunch of players that are good enough to play in GSL. There's a bunch of foreigners that can make it into GSL at this point, right? So why not just let everyone play everything?
Well,
Do they have that additional feeling now that the foreigners are so strong?
they do, but if you let everyone play everything, you have to be really careful because there's still like only like maybe 5 foreigners that can really compete with Koreans in on LAN. It's completely different to play online and LAN. People seem to not understand that. So if you on region lock everything, and let's say by some random reason the COVID ends and then every tournament is offline again, realistically to play in the GSL you have to live here, right? Like you cannot just travel back and forth. It's not real realistic. But DreamHack, let's say there's like a DreamHack Toronto. DreamHack Toronto is a weekend tournament that anyone can play. If you on region lock so that everyone can play, you're gonna see like all the whatever 25 Koreans that are good at the game fly there. And I'm pretty sure of the top 32, which is where you get paid some kind of money, you will see at least 20 Koreans there. I don't know the spots. I'm saying 20 Koreans. So you would actually do the backward thing and kind of kill the foreigners in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You need to be
yeah.
really careful what you do, because it's not, as I say, it's not the same to play. Even guys like, I don't know, give me some example of like a round of 32 turn. I don't know, some round 32 player at
Like
24
Bunny
now.
or something, or
Yeah, those
Free
guys
or
are very good. They're very 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 good. You
yeah.
know, they're comparable to like top European players, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So you need to be careful.
Sorry, what was the main point you said about you have to be careful about what? I missed
I
that.
would open and just allow like everyone to go to, like, let's say there's a DreamHack Toronto next year, like Corby Descent, and we can all fly, and then everyone can sign up for that tournament, and then you have every single Korean sign up and fly there. Then you will end up like back in the day that you would have now you have more foreigners that will be able to compete, but you would kill any foreigner pro gamer that's not top level. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about GSL for a second. I was like, wait, I was confused. But yeah, I would say I agree on that. However, I think lifting the region lock, so I don't know if we were going to mention this at some point, but I guess I'll just bring it up. I feel like the thing that a lot of people forget when we mention lifting the region lock is it's not like this sudden fix to Korea. People like see Korea scene dying. They're like, oh, Korean scene's dying. There's there's the players can't compete. They don't get money. They only get to play in X tournaments per year. Lift the region lock, then we can fix Korea. But all that's going to do is allow the people that are already winning the most, that have the sponsors to be able to fly out. That's just going to let them win more. So it essentially just continues to top heavy the distribution of where the prize pool is going, because the players that really need this boost, which are the B and C tier players, the ones that are Rata 32ers or not even qualifying in a GSL, those players are not going to be able to come to these tournaments anyway, assuming the the normalcy of no corona. They would not be able to come to these events anyway, or it would be very difficult for them to. And if they do, there's going to be not as many of them that will, just lifting the region lock by itself isn't necessarily going to fix anything. It might be the thing we need to do on the path to fix everything, but that alone is not it. So there needs to be more discussion to it than simply just lifting you can't just be like, okay, region lock's gone, let's go. Boom, Korea saved, boys. Let's go. That's not how it's gonna work. So
Totally.
I'm curious about what especially Apollo is gonna bring out in the thing that he said that the DreamHack or ESL is gonna talk about in the next month or so, whenever that ends up getting dropped. So I'm sure
totally.
this.
And that's actually kind of why I want to have the Pylon show, because I think it's not a simple lock unlock type of thing. Like, what do we do here? I want to quickly give a stat for exactly what Special said a moment ago, where if you have a bunch of Koreans fly over, the top, they'll flood out the top of a tournament. So I'm looking at Katowice, right? That was the last LAN tournament that we had. In the top 20 players, it is 15 Koreans and 5 foreigners. And the foreigners are kind of the players you'd expect: a Laser, U Special, Rainer, Showtime, and Cyril. So it's those 5 and then 15 Korean players.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
how many advanced to the next round? I think only Sarah advanced to the next round.
Yeah, right? It looks like Showtime made top 12,
well.
and then you Rainer and a Laser fell out in top 16ish, top 20, and then Cyril made it to top 4. So yeah, it's it definitely lopsides in that way.
People don't understand it's not the same thing to play online and offline. They see all these online results and they get baffled at it, but it's really not the same to play online and offline.
That is 100% true. Really, really, really is. Someone who still enjoys play tournaments, it is completely different playing online and offline. Experience is such a factor for offline play.
Can I get an opinion really quick, Special?
Yeah.
When you say that, what exactly are you pointing to by saying it's a difference, and people commenting about online results don't know? What exactly are you alluding to?
Well, I'm alluding to people saying well, now the foreigners are the best players and the Koreans are just bad. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, for what reason? Why do you think they're saying that?
Well, because the foreigners win they do well in the season finals and stuff like that, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, what's not the same? That's what I mean. Is it the ping stuff? Is it the fact that they don't care about online tournaments?
No, they care, but it's time zone is terrible, ping is awful, and when you play offline, the nerves are so much higher for especially for people that don't have that much experience playing offline. And when you play offline, also how to explain. I feel when you play offline, you're able to put more pressure into your opponent when you do little stuff. You know what I mean? It's much easier to make mistakes offline than online.
Yeah, I was just curious because I always see all these a bunch of people always saying too that There's like the two different circle jerks, right? There's the circle jerks of people saying like, oh, 3 a.m. for Korea, oh, ping, it's only affecting Korea, and then there's the anti jerk where it's like the Korean finally wins, and then they're just like, oh, it's only 3 a.m. It's only it's only 9 p.m. for Europeans. Like they go back and forth. So like I'm curious if like you actually think that what the difference is, because I think it's like reasonable for both sides, because like there's the ping argument, because then Koreans don't play on ping like ever, like they don't usually ever need to, so like they're not used to it, but then Europeans maybe do it a little bit more, so then I don't know, but I was just curious, that's all. Thank you.
I agree with that, like, really, really heavily. In my opinion, offline play is the ultimate test of skill. That's it right there. Like, if you win offline, you're, sitting there actually playing with perfect ping against your opponent in that type of tournament setting. That's like ultimate. Like, everyone can just play to their fullest, and there is a ton of pressure, and it's like, okay, this is really it. Whereas online, obviously, it's really good and everyone's trying their best and stuff, but sitting in your house, and then the differences in ping and things like that, I think do change it to some degree for sure. Right. Um yeah, okay, so let's get back to the actual thing about the regional lock, because a part of what we're looking at here is the Korean scene is really shrinking at this point. We've got GSL. It used to be round of 32. Now we're at round of 24. A lot of people going to military. Some people coming back from the military. So that's good. That's helpful. We don't really have a big scene rising up, and that's something that you mentioned, Gemini, where it's like, okay, well, even if you unregion lock, this is the rich getting richer. It's like, who's going to actually fly over? That's
right.
not necessarily helping the base of the scene. Would region lock have anything to do with the base of the scene? In fact, removing region lock, letting people like you, Special, get into GSL might actually hurt the base of the Korean scene, do you think? One less Korean that gets into GSL. I mean, I like it. I want you to play, but
What? I don't get the question. Can you repeat? I don't understand.
okay, so basically with the Korean scene, right? You you have the top pro gamers that are always doing fine, people like Maru and TY and Rogue, who are winning tons of money and winning tournaments. But as soon as you go down a little bit, we're like missing a huge level. Like, you can see this in Europe, where there's just a lot of very good B tier pros. In Korea, it really doesn't feel that way. In fact, a lot of the guys that we know that are high level amateur players don't even show up to GSL qualifiers. So I'm like, why is this? Like, what is it? How do we help that to fix the scene? Does region lock have anything to do with this?
I think it's mostly that they don't have tournament to play, man. Being straight honest, like if you have you have 5 tournaments per year, that realistically you can only qualify for 3. It's like, why do you even bother? They don't have like an actual. It's just the way it is. You don't have an actual reason to play. As a Korean, if you're not like a top player, in my opinion, like you are not making any money at all. And while passion is great, passion doesn't feed you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the sad truth, but it's just the way it is, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like the general state of SC2 in Korea right now is just. I almost feel like the more I always think about this, I'll get into discussions with people about this every now and then. The more I think about it, the more I feel like it's just inevitably doomed, and I feel very negative for saying that. Like it's so hard, because like I said before, lifting the region lock alone doesn't actually fix necessarily the core of the problem. The core of the problem is that there are not enough new blood Koreans, like you said, coming into the scene to fill up the GSL. We can force region lock in Korea, and that would make it so like Special, and whenever Scarlet's here or Astray are here and other players, they can't play in GSL. So then, boom, more spots go to Koreans. That will help out a tiny bit, sure. What the problem though then is that it's only helping like 1 or 2 or 3 extra slots, and then outside of that, who else is even going to play? Because these GSL qualifiers, they're not even getting filled up with players that would really be able to play much anyway. And people always will say, okay, then bring back Code A. Let's bring Code A back, and then that will be able to, players can get some motivation and play like that. Same with how they did with region locking. You can get Code A, boom, Korean seed fixed. Again, who's playing in it? Because if you look at the GSL qualifier list, the players that don't make it cannot fill up a Code A bracket or full Code A tournament. It would basically be just like an Olimo League of people to play for for 4 hours. And then the other argument would be, well, if the tournament actually existed, then more people would be motivated to play. Would they though? Because then you look at if you look at Korea GM rankings, after you get to like 6K and 6.1, 6.2, that's about what you consider to be like you can qualify for GSL at like the bare minimum. You can barely get in there. The amount of players that is, and then below that is like there's not a lot of them. There's not very many of them. So like you would literally have to be trying to pull people out of what they're doing. You need to be able to literally force them. Hey, you stop your job, stop your full-time job. We have a 3,000 prize pool tournament that you can play in that maybe will then make you motivated enough to go into Code S where you can then win a lot of money. You need to stop all you're doing and train hard, get to Korean GM, get 6K on ladder. Boom. Come on in, let's do it. And so like it's like you need the amount needed to try and motivate more people to play feels really huge. And the more I think about it, it's like what is there possibly that we could do? Like there's just not enough interest in Korean SE2 right now to get new people in. That is my general opinion. And will Region Lock help to fix it? Possibly. But there, again, where's that extra piece? I don't know what it is.
You just need more
That's
tournaments.
my rant.
You just need more tournaments like back in the day. Like back in the day, you had Pro League, you had SSL, you had GSL, and you had like tournaments that you could fly to. So there was a lot of stuff you could do. But nowadays, as a Korean, you can do Olimo
League, and
EPT.
I haven't
Weekly.
seen a Kung Fu Cup in a while, so there's no more
They're
of those. I guess
they're doing them. They're doing them.
Oh, they are.
There's one today, for example.
Okay.
And GSL. So the only tournament you can play offline is GSL. So it's like, is it really worth it if you're not a top player? Of course not. That you cannot ever make any kind of splash other than GSL. So practicing 3 months for one tournament seems kind of pointless. So in a way, I really feel terrible. And that's only because their nationality,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just sucks. In general, no, lifting the region log wouldn't just fix that. It just is the reality of Starcraft 2 right now, in my opinion.
Wow. Kind of dark views. I can't disagree with what you guys are saying in regards to the Korean scene, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What would you do for the discussion of region lock in general? Because it's kind of interesting how this has shifted from the questions of like, oh, is this fair to the Korean players to be locked out of overseas into, maybe the Koreans need more Korean only tournaments. But do you guys have any ideas as far as like what would be a way to approach starting to make this a healthier thing for Korean players? I know it's a big question, but like, I mean, you two are uniquely qualified to speak to this to some degree.
What could you like? Okay, Gemini, you start first.
Oh no. That like this is like kind of what I've been saying, right? It's like I am missing that piece. Like I really want to know what that piece is. Like I've been trying to think of what the hell this thing could possibly be. Like I've hosted my own like tournaments that Special always tries to nag me about trying to get on, even though I literally call it a Korean invitational tournament. It's like, bro, why am I not invited? I'm like, show me your birth certificate. Where's your Korean residency, buddy? Like easy ticket in. But like, so I've even tried, I try to help out by doing those types of tournaments. Ollie Mo League and all those other tournaments. There's all the plenty of the ITAX stuff, all like the Africa World, there's all these tiny little individual online tournaments that are awesome to help out with the Korean scene and whatnot. But the problem is that we need to bring new blood in, and what actually does bring new blood in, like, and to just kind of keep going with the rant a little bit, like the code A might work, maybe it will actually motivate more than let's say it is, just like how I was wrong with the initial region locking, thinking that it wouldn't actually motivate enough people to play. Maybe code A or some other bigger actual small time tournament would actually get more Korean people interested, but it's really hard to think that it would, just looking at the general state of Korean gaming here. Like, you go to a PC Bong back when it wasn't illegal to do so with Corona, and everyone's playing League. Everyone's playing League. Everyone's playing Overwatch. There's pub huge for a while. You go in, if you see one person playing Brood War, that's awesome. Like, you'd see like a person playing Brood War, maybe two. Starcraft 2, fuck no. You don't see anyone playing Starcraft 2 in a PC Bong ever. They, like, kids don't want to play them. They play mobile games. So many of them play mobile games now. All my students, they play mobile games. None of them want to play. Barely any of them play PC games. Like, it's just hard to think that there's like something that would actually really want to draw them away from work, from school, to be like, okay, let's drop everything. Let's practice 8 hours a day to then maybe get $2,000 from this tournament, every 4 months. Mm-hmm. Great career choice, Mom. I'm sorry. Your views of me being a doctor, me being a dentist, not happening. Sorry. I'm gonna go get $3,000 every 2 months, and yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
It's just not realistic anymore. Like, you have to have like pro teams. If pro teams were still around, then yes, I can see it. That the moment, well, you guys know what happened. The moment that happened is when the Korean scene died, in my opinion. Well, it didn't die. It just it became stagnant to the point that you cannot get new players.
Mm-hmm.
And it was forcing coming because, unfortunately, in Korea you have to go to the military. Because if you didn't have to go to the military, we still have more players, right?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people just wouldn't retire.
Yeah, like, I can think like 5 for just now: Gumiho, Hero, Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those people will still play. I'm pretty sure.
I think a lot of players too. Some of the guys that have kind of half come back, like Bomber. Like, imagine if he never had to stop. Like, he'd probably be at a higher level or something, right?
Yeah, so it's stopping like for 2 years and then coming back. That thing is not easy, man.
No, it's not. No. Well, yeah, it's just kind of a depressing episode, isn't it?
It is, but you bring it up.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's
the inherent root of the problem. Like, the region locking is the thing, but the unfortunate reality is the side effects of Korea and what is happening to it. Because it's basically all Korea right now. Because Western scene, yes, we answered the question. Region lock, boom, it's fixed. It's fixed Western scene. We have Serral, we have Rainer, we have everybody. So now what's up with Korea? Because that's the
next one that needs attention. That's
exactly
for sure. Yeah. It almost feels like it feels like it's inevitable that the Korean scene is heading towards something like the old Warcraft 3 scene. Like, I don't know if you guys followed it like way back, but it was just like basically the same group of pros all the time, right? And like they don't really need to retire, right? I mean, Happy and Grubby are both still really good, and obviously, like, things have changed a bit in Warcraft 3 nowadays. It's not what I'm saying, but like there are esports where this has occurred. Quake would be another one where it's like, yeah, we just have the same 16 pros playing every single tournament, and it's still good. People still like it. It feels like that's going to happen to the Korean scene, even though we have turnover in the West, right? Like, we see Climb rising up right now really strongly. And there's other names that we see down there that are like, okay, these guys are still coming up. But as far as the Korean scene, from what you guys are saying, from what I've experienced, that's what it feels like we're going towards, right? Where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have a handful of really good Korean players. But what do we do with that? Like, how do we keep that going?
Like actually, something that gave me hope, like a lot of hope actually, was the China League, the
Mm-hmm.
China Team League. That gave me a lot of hope, and it was doing well. And then this year, I know for a fact they were gonna do like the rule that you don't need a Chinese player anymore. So that gave me even more hope,
Mm.
because then you could actually stuff like I say, team is the most important thing for a player. Because at least if you don't win a tournament or whatever, or you still have like a way to make income, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what will happen with the China League. I mean, I know it's still gonna go next year. I'm pretty sure. But what really killed the hype for some Chinese teams, for what I know, is that Blizzard kind of just pulled the trigger and is like, okay, we don't care about it anymore, right? About SSC2. So like a lot of like if I was a team owner and I see that from a game, I'm like, why would I ever keep going with this game? Unless I love it.
Mm.
So for example, the Brave Star team that just disbanded. I talked to Dream the other day. He was like, yeah, I'm really sad about this. It's gonna be hard to find a new team. Like, imagine. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that if that move didn't happen, plus the China League being able anyone that you don't need a Chinese player, then I could see like more Korean players getting into there as well. But I don't know. Just hard to think exactly what's up, in my opinion.
Mm.
Yeah, the team stuff is massive. Like Pro League was the biggest thing, the biggest motivator of any player basically out here back when it was a thing. There were literally people that were more invested in winning their single best of one for Pro League than doing well in the GSLs and stuff like that, because of how much it meant to the teams and stuff like that. So like the Chinese league was pretty sick, and yeah, the thing about teams just not being interested anymore, it really does suck, because even though we have confirmed at least 2 more years with the EPT stuff, the ESL stuff, obviously that doesn't directly affect Korea and China in the same exact way. I mean, it does, because China is still part of that, but like not for the team league stuff. Like that's a little bit different. And so, yeah, we don't really have those teams that are like super mega invested. So like Brave Star dropping out. Team NV, the one that just picked up Maru Creator SOS, is apparently like one of those passion project kind of things, right? Because like
Yeah, it's
the
a passion
main,
project.
yeah, the main owner, like he even put it on his Instagram thing or whatever, saying like, I just really want to support players, blah 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 blah. So it's like that's kind of that's what's left, right? Like Gen Air gone. Gen Air's gone. The last Kespa team is gone. The official end of Korean team house dominance era is over, and what picks it up? It's picked up by a basically. And this is not meant to bash the team, of course. I'm like super happy that they're willing to do it, but like it is basically picked up by a passion project guy that has seemingly a good financial situation that he's able to do this. Not we have to then rely on that for the rest of the Korean scene. Is that what we're saying? Like obviously there's a problem there. So it
Well,
is a big hit for sure.
if you look at, like, okay, what's the name? China Team League, right? I'm gonna look at. It's the same thing in China Team League, but at least there were some like legit teams that were for other for other games as well. But we're going that way as well for this Chinese Team League. I'm looking up the teams exactly because I know all of them. So TSG Gaming, you remember that, right? That's a real team, and they just basically disappeared from StarCraft 2. LP is the same thing. That's a real team. In Big Tooth Gaming, it's always been like a Chinese team, so
Yep.
that's fine. Then my team, Chibo died. Brave Star Gaming just disappeared. Kaisi Gaming is a project, a passion project. Same with DPG. That's another passion project.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So as you can see, like Alpha X is a foreigner team. They Dying Lake Gaming just never paid the players. I don't know what happened there. And Team GP is like a passion project in my, I think as well, right? Gemini, you're in that team, but I'm pretty sure that's a passion project as well.
Kind of, yeah.
So it's like, as you can see, like realistically, there were 3 teams on the whole league. I'm talking about this year that were like from China that had like other games stuff going on,
hmm
and they actually all disappear now, all of them. So it's like, if you think about it,
So what you're saying basically is, as a business, it's
it
not
doesn't
making
make
sense.
no, it doesn't. They all passion projects. So
hmm
I mean, yes, it's inevitable that unless something dramatically change, we're just gonna be in passion projects or something I always thought make no sense, and I never understood why it didn't happen. It's like for like a big organization, let's just say, I don't know, something like G2, to pick up
hmm
one StarCraft 2 player. So I don't think the StarCraft 2 players are not expensive, and the exposure you get in StarCraft 2 is not that bad, you know?
It's
So
good.
that's some,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
StarCraft 2 exposure is actually, it's good. This is a good demographic. It's like older fans that,
yeah.
it's a group that doesn't necessarily watch your other games.
So like if there was a way for that to happen, that was something I always and never understood. Like for example, Ents have Zero, or like Team Liquid has a lot of players, but like I'm saying, like teams of that caliber that have very big presence in other games, to pick one StarCraft 2 player, because they do it with other games, like for Smash or stuff like fighting games. So it just, if that happened, that could have been really good for anywhere, the Korean scene, but that never happened. So that's a little bit sad.
Yeah, that's why I also like love TL so much as well right now too. The fact that they did continue to invest into it again with ESL doing their stuff, being that mega esport team now. Like they're literally insane. Like they literally have like entire clothing brands and all that crap. Like you think back, if this was like 2011, like you see the stuff that they have now, you just be losing your mind. So like I agree on that hugely. Like I think like having a G2, imagine like Fnatic coming back and just signing like a single player, like with
Yeah,
how big they are. Like
they don't care.
the money is like surely I know what some of these players are getting a salary like for one of those top teams. Like it's nothing, dude. Like let's be real. Like how like that's such a good point special. Like
Yeah.
Is
it
what I'm
would be
saying.
it would have been so good if just a single player, just like a tiny bit. It would have boosted
Yeah,
so much interest. I think. And
yeah, of course.
yeah, that's such a good point. I really yeah. I
That
I,
is,
But
I think it's a
that seems
good
like
thing.
a missed opportunity in a way, now that you're
yeah,
bringing it up, because sometimes I hear about, like, oh, they're paying $5 million to buy out this player's contract to be able to pay him $1 million a year to play the game. And I'm like, that's no one in StarCraft is making anywhere near that. And our viewership is not that bad.
yeah. It's what I say, like, is what you could. If I mean, it's not too late for that to happen, but it's
Mm,
just I'm not a businessman, so I don't know how to approach stuff like that.
mhm,
And imagine, I don't know, all these Korean players or all these foreign players, for that matter, they don't know how to approach organizations like that. So like,
mhm. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's possible, but it's hard. It's not that simple.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's something, because imagine, just imagine we're playing like a GSL, and every single player is on a different team from a somewhat known or different organization,
Mhm.
and they all just make like a little tweet. You know, like even people that don't play StarCraft will get more interested into StarCraft. Those teams have huge, like, following.
Yeah, yeah, if
Some,
you're a
some
fan of a
of-
team, yeah.
they normally watch. Well, not normal, but some of those people just watch whatever they're playing on, even if they don't understand, and then you get people like that.
Oh,
But
I agree with this so hard. I'm
yeah,
vibing so
that's
hard with
something I've been
this.
thinking for like 2 years, and I even tried it for a bit, because I got, for example, into I don't know if you guys remember when I was in Team Exten. That's a Mexico League of Legends team, basically. So they showed some interesting about it, but I feel like as a player, as that's kind of the fault of players as well. They don't know how to approach organizations as well. I'm
Mhm.
myself included. We don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Well, especially if you take, for instance, any top player. If you're a top StarCraft player, the amount of time you spend on that, you don't have time to learn about this other crap, like
yeah,
how to approach a team and make a business plan for them to sponsor you and stuff. That's like just outside, of what is possible with the amount of hours put in, really.
right.
Mm.
Yeah. Let's get our big esports orgs. Let's go. Dip your toes. That's literally all that's needed. Only your toe into the SC2 pool. Let's do it. And also
It's
Team
true.
Liquid Sign Trap. Thank you very much.
Well, he doesn't need. Well, imagine he joined Fnatic Trap. Would you be mad
That
about
would
that?
also be hype as fuck. Yes.
That would be
There's
cool.
But also Team Liquid Sign Trap.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? Are you spoilering like what happened here? That's crazy. Wow,
No.
what a signing.
I'm literally asking them. I'm literally asking them. Please do it.
Yeah.
Please.
No, that would be cool though. Like to get some of these top guys signed where it's like they might be the world champion next year.
You don't know. Yeah, you don't know. I mean, the
Like
viewership. It's not only that. It would have done so much back in the day and still now.
Mm,
But yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, I guess so. Wow. Really interesting point of view there though, Juan, like bringing that to light. That's definitely something that I think people are missing out on. It's kind of funny to be on this side of it and be like, ah, they're missing out on us, but also we're missing out on them, right? That's
Yeah, we are
it's a
missing
two-way
out.
street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess the last thing I can think to really kind of ask you guys about the topic, because I know we've kind of deviated around and talked a lot about, the Korean scene and what it needs for strengthening. I just wonder if both of you guys were in charge, if both of you guys were in like Apollo's spot and in charge of the decision of what to do
Mhm.
region-wise for next year. Would you change anything? What would you be looking at to make things better?
I can tell you what I will do.
Okay.
I can tell you. I think this is the best idea you can have. You will lift the region log, but not completely. This is what you do. So you will have the schedule. So GSL is a little bit ahead of the tournaments,
Mhm.
and you will. Right now it's round of 24 and then round of 16, right? So there's like two. You would allow people that lost in the round of 24 or didn't advance to round of 8. So that would be like what, 12 players? You allow those people to play in the overseas tournament, but not the guys that are in round of 8 or plus.
Oh.
Wait, can you say that again? I totally
Oh.
zoned out.
So there's round of 24 and round of 16. So the two people that lost in the round of 16 and the round of 24 people, you allow those people to play in the overseas tournament, but not the round of 8 above of the current GSL. So you need to make the schedule so the GSL is a little bit ahead of
Damn.
the actual tournament. You know,
I like that.
I
think
don't care what they say about you. You're pretty smart, Special. Like I like that idea a lot.
yeah,
That
I feel
actually
the
it,
best because if you use open, everything's bad as well.
no, that it makes so much sense, right? Because and you can make the line like people that lose in round of 24, people that lose in round of 16. But like, yeah, around round of 8, like you're making good money, and those are the players that would dominate anyways, right? Those are the players that like only Cyril and Raynor are gonna have a chance against or something like that. Right? Like those are it's Trap and Maru and Rogue and those people. I like it's a really clever idea because it really strengthens and gives more money to that lower tier Korean pro, which is so important. And
No.
then that suddenly becomes, it's like, oh, okay, if I make it into round of 24, suddenly I can go to these other events. Or even, I guess, if you didn't play GSL, would you be able to
Yeah,
go to?
yeah, of course. But I see people in the chat saying, "Oh, then you just lose on purpose." No, that doesn't make any sense. You still need to travel, and that costs money.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee that you're gonna win. And
Yeah.
GSL has better price pool, so it's just
Yeah.
an incentive for Korean players to, even if you lose, you still have something to do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like the idea a lot. Damn.
I mean, that's what I actually just came up with that right now, but I know I'm smart. So thank
Apollo, listening, talk to this man.
you. Because I also know that the GSL doesn't want to bury its foreigners for not playing. I know that for a fact because every time
Oh yeah.
the way when the foreigner plays, there's bigger viewership for the GSL. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is because
It's more
there's more
exciting.
fans.
That's it. Hmm.
No, it's not that. There's more fans as well from foreigners than Koreans. It's just the way it is. But I feel like the Koreans need some more than just one tournament a year. So this is like the best thing I could think of that will actually be not completely kill the foreigner scene as well. Because you don't want that as well. The foreigner scene is doing well. It's healthy. There's players coming up. You don't want
Hmm.
them to also just not be able to play.
Hmm.
Because if you open it everything, you have, as I say, 20 Koreans are gonna come and it's gonna be Katowice over and over and over.
Hmm. And yeah, I should mention as well. I see Fear Dragon in the chat mentioning about the global finals and stuff. Right now, during the year of COVID, obviously we have like a very different system, which is not anywhere near region lock like the previous years, and what we hope, is coming back is the live events. But yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, no, I love your point though there, especially I like that idea very, 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 very much. It feels like it would give a lot of motivation where it's like, oh, if I'm a good player in this Korean, I can play in a lot of stuff now. Whereas it's not just Maru winning everything everywhere or something or Rogue or whatever.
There's also then
Yeah.
the I'll be the devil's advocate, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. The point that Special says the round of 16 and round of 32 players are still like by and large better than a lot of the other Western players, right? So even just the players that come out of that don't qualify for round of 16, round of 32, even those players coming over to NA or EU or whatever, like then that would potentially go back to, even though it's only a few players, it could still possibly limit some motivation for like some of the lower tier EU or NA players that be like, okay, well now my spot is done because these players just sucked in their region. Now they're coming over here to farm me. Like there's still it's to a lesser extent, absolutely,
Yeah,
but
that's
there's
true.
still that possibility. My question, my opinion is, do I care? No, because I like Koreans better, but there's still the possibility of that being an issue
Okay,
too.
so I'm watching the last GSL. I'm just opening the results. So the players that will come will be Dream, Solar, Parting, Rogue, Creator, Ragnarok, SOS, Sue, Patience, me, well, I'm already there. Teja, Nightmare, Bomb just retired, Hurricane, and Bunny. Like those all these guys, they're all really good.
Yeah.
Even like the ones that lose in the round of 24. But at the same time, you need to think if you want to do something for the Korean scene, I feel like realistically, this is the only thing you can do to make it somewhat better for them.
Mm. Yeah.
You could
So,
also use, if you think it's too many, you could all something else you could do is, okay, how many players is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's realistically 16 players that can go. What you could do is like you could hold a qualifier for those people, so only 8 can go, or something like that. Do something,
sure.
you know.
Sure. It's
If you're
it's a very interesting idea. Yeah.
if you're afraid like a 16 will go, you could just hold a qualifier, so only some can go. But
Mhm.
I feel like that's just obviously thinking that everything is back to normal and we can go and fly in tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the caveat here is we have to consider it for that. For the online stuff, it doesn't really make as much
It
sense. Like
doesn't
right
because
now is everything is pretty even, I would say.
yeah, because they got invited to the season finals. They didn't have that
Yeah.
before,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
but that's just more
Um,
money for the same people, basically.
kind of, yeah. Gemini, what would you do if you were in charge? Thank you for playing the devil's advocate. What would be your idea?
Well, I'll just take the idea right from chat. Someone says just take the prize money and just distribute it evenly to all the players. It's not my tournament, it's our tournament, comrades. Excellent. Perfect. Okay.
Love it.
So I feel like that, yes, I think Special's idea is honestly pretty damn good. The fact that he literally just thought of that is actually kind of impressive. So I'm pretty digging that. I'm pretty vibing with Special's idea right there. But I do agree that if we do get rid, I think we definitely should get rid of region locking. I think definitely getting rid of some form of region locking is necessary. We need to help the Korean scene in some way.
Right.
We need to give them some form of extra motivation, and I think definitely doing it to the extent of everyone just being able to free run to wherever they want, like Special said, has its limitations. So I'm kind of just going to agree with Special here. I don't have a really better idea in my opinion. I haven't really been able to think of something that solid. I'm honestly just kind of waiting to see what Apollo and ESL say, because whatever I say probably will not be anywhere near as good as whatever they all were able to come up with. So
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I've just been kind of sitting back, just like waiting. It's like, okay, what are they said they're going to address it. So I'm just like, all right, what do you got? Show it to me. I want to see it. So I'm on that train, but I like Special's idea, the just limiting who exactly can come over, but still allowing some people to come over at all, because it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I like the idea of the beginning of Special's idea, right? Like you could flesh it out better and come up with
Yeah,
something really good. But yeah, Apollo's quite brilliant, so we'll see what he has to say as well on that. All right, some really interesting conversation. Thank you guys. I think we're going to jump over to the Patreon questions. Do you guys have any final thoughts on what we were discussing before we see what the community wants to know from you guys?
I just want to say that it's been a long time coming. This stuff is like you don't have to be a genius to see that the Korean scene is like kind of shrinking, and it's like the same people over and over and over. And the people that try to make it just disappear. Like for example, Chance.
I
He was
know,
really good.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good. He was not bad, but
He was taking maps off everyone in the qualifiers and stuff, but can't quite
yeah,
break through. And it's like, where is he now?
and he retired. Like, he
Yeah,
retired like 4 months ago. So it's like
it's really sad.
or people like Nightmare. He managed to make it. Like he's pretty good as well. This guy can beat almost every foreigner, almost every single one. I can lose to him, for example, but he cannot make real money. So, but he's still playing, and he's good. But he doesn't. If I was him, I would consider I'm playing out of passion. More than
Yeah, yeah.
an actual. Like you have, like as a Korean, you have to basically be like insanely good to be able to make decent money in this game as a Korean right now. So that's why I feel like the thing I told you is probably one of the better solutions.
Sure. All right. Any final thoughts there, Gemini, before we go on to the questions?
No, let's go questions. This is my favorite part of the show.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump over the Patreon questions. They're still open for a little bit. If you guys want to throw any questions these guys' way or my way, check it out. Patreon.com/ThePylonShow. All right. First up, Paragleber asks, recently there was some drama when T1 wanted to hire Polt and LS as coaches for their LoL team, and Korean T1 fans protested very aggressively, leading T1 to not hire LS after all. Any thoughts on this incident? How toxic are Korean esports fans? Notable differences between Western and Korean fans. So I don't know how much you guys know about this. Did you
I
guys...
actually messaged Last Shadow the other day about that.
Yeah, me too.
It was pretty cancerous, to be honest. I mean, I didn't get too full into it, but I did see some of the message. I'm like, really? Like, what is this? Is that really necessary?
Mm.
You wouldn't expect this out of like somewhere like Korean culture, but apparently you can. It was pretty cancerous, to be honest.
Oh, dude, Korean fan bases are toxic as fuck. It's like, it's actually crazy. Like the league fans literally went full K-pop on this. Like they literally just went insane. Like there were people that like sent one of those message trucks to circle around the SK building, blasting like messages saying like, we don't want these players, consult with your fans about who you're hiring, blah blah blah, like crap like that. Like it was mega toxic. Like Korean fans are actually super toxic in BM in general, even to like just like the players. Like I've talked to a few of the Korean pros for SE2 even, and like they will say that like they're their Korean fans are like fucking brutal. Like whenever they don't do well or something like that, they are like really brutal. And then they'll say that like comparatively, like foreign fans generally are much more supportive in like when they're not doing well or whatever. So yeah, Korean fans are crazy. It's which is really kind of the opposite you'd think, because like Korean culture generally does kind of have a much more conservative and very appreciative nature. So it is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's really sad to see anything bad happen to those guys. I really like. I know that Polt is still hired, and I guess Ellis is not. He's been a friend of mine for a really, really long time. So
Well,
I think he's going to be a
hired,
streamer now for
yeah,
SK. I still
but it's
think,
not
but
the
yeah,
same
not a
thing.
coach anymore.
yeah.
That's
He's
crazy.
just really a very, very smart game player and analyst and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it sucks to see. I've heard bad things about the Korean fan bases sometimes. Like I feel like I remember Biol being really upset because if people remember, Biol was basically Sue before Sue was Sue, where he got second place in like 4 tournaments in the course of a year. And I feel like I remember him saying something about how terrible the people online were being to him. This has happened a few times within StarCraft as well, where the fan base was like just really giving people shit. So it's I don't like it, and I don't like companies kowtowing to fan bases too. I don't know. I mean, it's I guess it's tricky if you're like in it for entertainment and stuff, and probably you just have to do whatever you think is best for the bottom line. Being a giant company, that's like what the company is there to do, but doesn't doesn't feel good.
Yeah, the fact that T1 was I keep calling it SK by accident. It's not SK anymore. It's literally just T1. Like the fact that they are a global team now probably had a massive say in that. Just saying because they have to kind of cater to the general population as well and be like, we're not just a Korean team. I don't know, but it was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I guess have anything else to say about that I can thank. Thank you, Paragleber, for the question, an important one. Ass Rash asks, hello. I've been on and off Patreon supporter since the beginning of the Pylon Show, but I've only recently donned the noble moniker Ass Rash asks, what are some other terrible name changes in StarCraft history? For me, the worst is bogus, which is cool, to innovation. Huh? Your pal Ass Rash asks, oh, this is great. We actually have the #1 expert on name changes in all of esports here. Special.
Gemini. What's up, Gemini?
What?
Special.
I was gonna just say that I love Ashrash asks. By the way, that's one of my favorite new usernames I've ever seen in the Pylon. I literally wait for his question every time. But yeah, special, or should I say, princess, or maybe major, or
Windy, Ghosty Terran.
Windy, Ghosty Terran. Yeah.
Tell us. Just name as many of your names that you can think of. How many of your IDs do you recall?
Not many, man. I moved on from that, man. Let me be it, man. We all make mistakes.
Okay, so I just clicked on your StarCraft 2 Wikipedia page. Major, Windy, Terran, Princess, Brittany, Kitty, Memory, Cute Angel, Nongi, Special, Shofu, Light. I love Altaria, Mr. Jamvad, Based Lord, CTC, Nara, and a Prosser. These are all IDs that they have for you listed there, and I know that you have more than that.
They put everything, even when you use a ladder name. What does that even mean, man? Like, if I name
they had to do that for the meme. Like the people on Wikipedia had to do they must have, because I didn't even know half of those actually.
Yeah, what the hell, man? I can use any ladder ID what I want. What is this, man? I feel like the internet police is coming for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if that answers your question, man, but
the whatever Zest was before Zest, like the piece. Yeah, that meant like literally like the blood of your of the person you. What was it?
I think it was covered in blood, is what it meant.
Yeah. Like that's a fucking badass name. But Zest is also badass and is also a badass name. But I always think of that one. Beyond, literally, his name was like poop. Remember that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Actually, there's a couple StarCraft 1 guys too that have terrible name changes. Shuttle. He was known as Shuttle forever, changed his ID to Eyewater, insisted we called him Eyewater, immediately joined his ASL game on the same day under the ID Shuttle. And I was like, fuck this. Done with it. Eyewater? That's I understand English is not a language that you speak, but like that is not what you think it is. Okay. It does not sound cool. It's not good. And everyone already knows you as Shuttle. So that was a terrible one.
Dude, yeah. Fucking Beyond, he literally when he used to be on Xenex, his name was Nex Excrement.
Yep. I remember
oh
that.
my god, it's amazing.
God, we do have some bad name changes from time to time.
There's also, remember when Losira wanted to change his name to his real name to Kongho? Then no one wanted to do that ever, and then after like 2 GSL seasons, he just went back to Losira, and let's all remember that one. Anytime there's so many Koreans that try to change their ID to their real name because like in Korea, everyone just calls them by their actual name, not their IDs. They just kind of do it to entertain Western people.
Right.
But yeah, Losira did that. Who else did that? His name is Do-kyung, but what was his actual ID?
Oh, Billowy.
Billowy, yes. But he's back to Billowy now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been some really weird ones as well. Like people in the chat are pointing out in StarCraft 1 also we had Soma, who changed his ID to Choshim Zerg, which is like that's not a good idea. Zero changed his ID to Queen.
Why?
Yeah. You've been famous as Zero for fucking ever. You're a champion. Now a two-time champion, and you want us to call you a new name. There's this huge missing piece of pro gamers change their ID so much. Every ID will grow to fit you, right? Worst ID ever made by anyone, Testy. Eventually, we don't even think of what the ID means. He's Testy. That's it. You know, like that. Eventually, it's fine.
Yeah.
Good question there, Asrash asks. Thank you. Thank you for the question. All right. Next, Sate0 asks, yo, CPL 6 for Brood War signups are open on TL.net. Go sign up. Question. I want to improve my casting at Brood War.
Hashtag ad.
Yeah. Well, he pays for the Patreon. There you go. You can always submit that, though, to This Week in StarCraft. In fact, it was probably in there this week. Question, I want to improve my casting at Brood War since I cast CPL games, but I don't know the non-Protoss races as much. What are some resources to learn builds from the races I don't play? Liquipedia hella out of date. Tired of being dumb. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe if you cast alongside a player of that race, that would be a very efficient way to learn that. You could always talk to other players as well about what the builds may be and might mean. I don't think that there's really a resource though. It's like we don't really have that type of stuff written down. Brood War.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that.
Watch streams. What can I say?
Yeah,
Get good.
Get good.
Well, that's what CPL
Just
is
play
for.
like Cyril.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, play like
play
Flash.
like Flash. Just play like Flash. Oh,
Do that.
He even plays every race now, so you can actually just play like him. Woohoo!
Say zero. Sorry, I couldn't help you more than that, but good luck. I don't know. There's no resource for it. It's just that's the way it is.
Literally get good.
Yeah. It's funny because it doesn't exist, and the metagame changes reasonably quickly. And when metagame shifts occur and players message each other, it's like this will happen where like Nyokin will message me. He's like, everyone's going DT right now. Make sure you get the eBay at 420. I'm like, all right, got it. And that's like, I don't know. I guess that's more of the way things are done rather than like posted about somewhere. All right. Tommy Balls asks, what was the biggest missed opportunity when it comes to competitive game modes in StarCraft 2? Was it Archon, 2 vs 2, 3 vs 3, 4 vs 4, 1v1v1, 1v1v1v1, capture the flag, 2v2v2v2, apple picking, Mexican deathmatch? Is he still reading? All right, Tommy Balls wants to know if we missed out on something as far as competitive StarCraft 2 goes. Was there a mode that you guys thought should be competitive that never really became so?
Dude, I just love these fucking usernames. What's up, Tommy Balls? Like, I think Archon mode was pushed mega hard at the beginning of Legacy, but unfortunately, it kind of just died. I think Archon's pretty sick. I I I personally did not play it for a while just because I think I didn't really have someone to play it with. So like it's a really bad mode to play with someone that is worse than you because you just end up wanting to do everything. So you just basically just like start playing as if it's one person. But it could be really fun. Like I saw some Harstem and Cyril Laser Rainer, a bunch of them were doing a lot of Archon matches against each other on stream a couple months back. They were pretty cool looking. So I feel like Archon mode it was mega pushed, and they even did like a Red Bull tournament for it that as well that I actually went to, but it just like did not catch. And whether or not that is a good thing, I don't know. But I feel like Arkham mode was just interesting, an interesting storyline, just because of how much it was pushed, and then it just literally failed entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just kind of funny, but I feel like Arkham mode was pretty cool. I wasn't one of the Brood War 2v2 elitists, so I'm not gonna go on that hype train. We need cats in here to go on that one, so I'm
No,
not
that
gonna
was
speak on that.
fun. Every time I watch Prolling, when Prolling had to be two, I would watch that. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
I just
Brood War
never
2
was
was good.
interested in it. I personally just didn't. I don't know. I like 1v1.
No, 1 minute is good, but like if you have like a team league and you have a 1-2v2, that is just fun because it's something else.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
a,
it's the thing is I don't like 2 versus 2 in Starcraft 2, personally. I don't like
well,
it.
we never got it developed. That's the thing. It's not
Yeah.
going to say
Yeah,
that
it's
in the
the game
server.
is really designed for 1 versus 1. Yeah, the Archon was interesting. They really sold me on it when they were first making it and telling me about it. And I was like, "Oh, Team Melee. Yeah, that maybe that is a good way to get new players." And it just didn't seem to do what it was meant to do, unfortunately. Huh. Yeah.
It's really cool to do like multiple people versus one. Like it was really funny watching like Harstem, a laser, and like one other person all going against just Cyril. Like that was hilarious. Like that, like can 3 people together beat the best fucking player in the world? Like that kind of stuff is pretty cool, actually.
I've done that for practice just a few times back in Brood War when I was playing competitively. I would have a couple Zerg players, like one do all the macro and one do the mutalisk harassment. I think I did it against like LZ Gamer and Machine. It was the most brutally hard thing I've ever. It was like insane. It was insane trying to play against that. So I can imagine Cyril trying to go
Well,
against 3 pros, how hard that would be.
I assume LC Gamer was using the macro because he cannot macro for shit, right?
He had
What was
couldn't read a
LZ Gamer
micro.
doing? Was he in
couldn't
charge
keep
of
his
putting the
macro
random
while he was doing
hatcheries on
it.
around the map?
Yeah.
LC
Yeah.
Gamer and macro, a better joke.
Well, that's why we had Machine doing the macro. I think it was those
Exactly.
two teamed up. But yeah. Thank you for the question, Tommy Balls. Hyper Turtle asks, taking inspiration from the guys in the chat fighting on Bloodbath, what other old Blizzard Brood War maps are good for rookies pummeling each other?
Brood War maps.
Yeah, like
Lots
fun
of
maps for noobs. I mean, I always liked BGH Islands, just regular hunters.
Fast enough.
Dire Straits
Yeah.
is fun if you're a real noob. Like just old island maps can be fun. Bloodbath, of course.
I really liked the mass unit games, actually. I was really big on that. The Family Guy mass unit games, or like the whatever other mass unit games, Halo mass unit games. I really like those ones.
I don't know what those are.
Use map settings.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I assume that. I assume that. Yeah, thank you.
Fast as map possible, man. That thing is fun, man.
Okay.
Oh, Footies remakes. That's what those are. Footies. That's right. Thank you, Cranberry Sauce, Fast Pants.
maybe fastest map type stuff can be pretty fun too. It's I mean that stuff's still played too. People still like it.
Yeah, it is. I see it sometimes.
Oh, by the way, about the previous question, actually, I forgot to mention this. A lot of Brood War pros now do play Team Melee against each other for fun on stream and stuff. So maybe that is something that could grow up. And like you guys said, you saw some of the European pros trying it. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to throw that in there. All right. Thank you for the question, Hyper Turtle. Knocked Cop asks, hypothetical. There is a final on, and the only sane choice for them was to switch to Artosis streaming. Knowing full well that his stream at the point was a pretty just a collection of Artosis notifications from Tasteless channel. What events at the finals warranted such extreme measures? There is a final on. Okay,
Like,
so In what case would it be better to switch a final stream to my stream rather than keeping the final stream on?
I'm assuming that I don't know, one
I'm
player
guessing he's
cannot
I
play
guess he's saying
anymore.
like the final is so bad that instead we should just watch
Yeah.
Artosis.
What would be the worst thing that
Rage?
we could broadcast as a finals, I think, is basically the question.
I am Katowice 2014 finals.
Who played it?
Was that SOS versus
Hero.
Yeah, Hero.
The proxy 2 gates?
Yes.
That is the answer.
Yeah, man. I think it was me and Apollo commentating
Dude.
that. That was quite the match.
Yeah. Dude, I went to a Barcraft for that, dude. We literally
Oh.
showed up. And then like as we show up a tiny bit late, and then we are up like, okay, cool. What's up? What's happened? Oh, it's 2-0 already. We're just like, what? And then the TV dies, and then like in the time that the TV died and got back up, the next game was over, and then we just like left. Like, it was like, okay.
Damn. Sorry to hear. Yeah, no, that was a tough one. That was a fun event, though. A fun story for that event with the winner takes all prize thing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Knocked Cop. Shampoo McTavish asks, what is Brood War's strongest point as a spectator sport versus StarCraft 2 and vice versa? I think
These fucking Brood War questions.
StarCraft 2 is a spectator sport. I think about this a decent amount. There's a bit more action. It's faster paced.
Right.
Like, I find it much easier to commentate StarCraft 2 personally. It's like very easy to keep the pace of it because there's just so much, stuff moves around so fast. That's for me personally. You guys have any ideas about what Brood War has as a spectator sport that over StarCraft 2?
Yeah, also, so Brood War matches are more length. The harassment is a lot weaker in the way that you don't normally end the games quickly. So you can see like more macro games, you want to say it, right? It's in Brood War.
Mhm.
But there's not more action going on early on. Like, and even in the mid game, or for example, I'm thinking like TVP. TVP, what do? You try to harass with vultures. But there's
Yeah.
not, like,
That's
not
about
much,
it.
right?
Maybe a dropship, maybe.
If you're crazy like me, you make dropships, but
Yeah.
especially if it's tasteless. But other than that,
Dropship,
like,
man.
yeah. StarCraft 2 is more like you will see more stuff in StarCraft 2, but the end fight would end a lot quicker. Like they normally like fight and the game kind of just decides on one point. When it's Brood War, you lose a fight, you don't just instantly lose the game, kind of.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's more back and forth. There's more comebacks in Brood War.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah.
One thing that I think is actually cool about Brood War that doesn't really work in StarCraft 2 just because we're so spoiled with the production tab is limited information. And I know I remember Apollo also at one point was like thinking about experimenting with this like way back, and I thought it is kind of interesting because there are times when it happens in StarCraft 2 matches when I'm either not paying attention to the production tab or the screen doesn't fully show you what's happening, and then something surprises you that you weren't expecting, and it's like a super sick moment. There was this really really sick moment in I think it was Showtime versus Estrella or some PvP. It was a super mega late game. It was like kind of like a base trade, and the not Showtime person had a mothership with a big army. I forgot. I think it was Estrella. I can't remember. The other player had like a bunch of carriers and mothership, and they were base trading. And Showtime had Blink Disruptor in the main base of the other player, and like they recalled their carrier army to the base, but we didn't see it. We're just seeing the Blink Disruptor army like kill stuff, and then suddenly it pans up as the army just appears there, and it's just like the disruptors all go out, and it doesn't actually kill anything. Like then Showtime's army gets wiped. Like we thought Showtime was gonna win, but then all of a sudden he's losing again, and then it suddenly recalls back to the mothership to continue the base race, and like that also like you didn't see it right away, and like kind of like came out of nowhere. So it was like super sick hype moment. It was like really cool because like you didn't expect to see it happen. So that I think in Brood War does that pretty well without the production tab. Like suddenly like 5,000 ultras are on the field, like holding an insane push or something like that. You don't have the full information, but for SC2 it's kind of hard because we're pretty spoiled with that production tab.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. There's more tension. There's more. Yeah, there's a really good word for that. That's like dodging my brain right now. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, you're building suspense a lot of times, whereas that doesn't really exist in StarCraft 2. Yeah, that's a really good answer. All right, cool. Very good question there,
Thanks.
actually, Shampoo McTavish. Really appreciate that one. Optional player asks, along with Twitch, StarCraft also took off on YouTube. Husky, Lag TV, Day9, HD, Psy, Cricket, et al.
Does anyone else
Uh,
Husky?
what do you guys think about the Husky drama? Were just some of the channels I watched. While sure Husky would never come on, could there be a reunion episode sorts featuring some of these OG YouTubers? How YouTube has changed over time. I did have something kind of like that. We had a little bit of an episode like that, but going further back into Brood War YouTube, which was Mole Trap and Diggity that I had on. So you might want to check out that episode. But yeah, I mean, I would be down for stuff like that. Thank you. We'll add it to the list. We actually have a list of suggested episodes that people have given because we're always looking for ideas, like to spice it up and have different topics and not just always be reviewing tournaments and stuff. Although we got to do a tournament review episode really soon. We just had a bunch of good tournaments finished. So, but yeah, thank you for the suggestion. We'll definitely
Got added to the list.
There we go. Cobra has added it to the list for us, so we have it written down in our Discord. Thank you. All right. Walk Like a Human asks at panel, how is your Korean skills to date? Can you speak conversationally? What's a favorite phrase of yours? At Artosis, how fluent is your wife and kids in Korean? Have you ever surprised someone who just thought you were a tourist? Can Tasus really only say, I'd like a beer, please? Okay, so how's your guys' Korean?
Holy
I'm actually
shit.
studying.
He is.
Like
Yeah, he
clowns.
is.
So,
Okay.
It's not as
yeah.
good as I would want it to be. I've been here for a bit over a year. Unfortunately, it's hard to get time to study enough. I got all my books, my Korean books over there, but it's tough to learn. But I don't know. I'm kind of getting there. It's like very minimal conversation, basically.
Well, you only speak one language, right? It's harder for you.
Yeah, I only speak English. I'm American. We don't know how to learn other languages, actually. So, yeah.
¿No hablas español, viejo?
Nah, dude, my Spanish teachers were garbage when I was fucking growing up, dude. I didn't know.
Oh,
I didn't
blame
learn
it on the
anything in that.
teacher. All right.
They were shit, dude. No, I am a teacher. I am literally a teacher. I know what it means to be a good teacher or bad teacher. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a bad teacher, you don't realize it.
Yeah, that's true. My students don't tell me that, so I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah, so about the question, so obviously my Korean's not as good as it should be, I guess, for someone who's lived here this long. My reading is pretty darn good. Like I do well enough with Korean to live here without any problems. My speaking is not that good. I have a hard time putting together a sentence that is grammatically correct, even though I have lots of Korean words and I can understand conversation much better than speak it. But yeah, I wish I was better, but there's only so many hours in the day. As far as my wife and kids, my wife is similar to me. And then my oldest daughter is perfectly fluent, with a perfect accent and
That's
everything. All my
crazy,
kids were
dude.
born here. Yeah. So she goes to Korean elementary school, full time, reads Korean, speaks Korean, no problems. My
I've
3
never
year-olds
been more
are
jealous of a 5-year-old in my life, dude.
well,
Yeah, me
she's
too.
8. She's 8.
Oh,
but
sorry.
yeah.
But I'm 8 years old.
8-year-old doesn't change it.
Yeah.
My 3 year-olds go to Korean school now, although coronavirus keeps making them get pulled out, put back in, and stuff. So that's interrupting their learning, but they are getting much better at Korean. They will be fluent. And then my 1 year-old says like 4 different words in English so far. So she's not even started. We'll wait a bit on that. Yeah, there you go. And Tasus can say more than I'd like a beer, please.
Although that is his specialty.
He's very good. Thank you for the question, Walk Like a Human. Mighty Bone Max asks, so what? I always wondered why people call it NA or EU qualifier at this point, when both are more a Western global qualifier, since you can play in most tourneys from both regions to qualifier. It doesn't make sense to split it at this point. IMHO. Hashtag support your local players. Hashtag NAGate. PS1. Nice cooking. I believe most places, most of the qualifiers, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If it's called like NA server preference occurs, is what that's labeled as basically. So yeah, you can play in that qualifier, but NA players will have a ping advantage, right? That's why we call it stuff like NA and EU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, correct.
Making sure. Yeah, there you go. That does answer your question. So I don't even need to say I hope. There you go. That's the answer to your question.
Have a nice day, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. Polly asks, what's your favorite unit of the race you hate the most? StarCraft 2 or Brood War? Your
Oh,
favorite
God.
unit of the race that you hate? What Protoss unit do you like, Juan?
Dude, believe it or not, what do I like? I hate all of it, but I wish I had zealots, man. All zealots, the most
Yeah.
skilled units in the planet, and they
Yeah.
have it. Isn't it, Gemini?
I just want to go. Let's just all find the in control rant about nerfing the zealot again from the Pylon show,
Yeah,
because that
yeah.
was just the greatest thing
I
ever.
love it when the
Really?
change
The
went through.
zealot? What?
When they changed the zealot and they removed the charge thing. Remember this? Like
Mm.
some and they said,
Yeah.
no, this is a horrible nerf, blah blah blah. We cannot win. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. This is a huge buff. And look at it now.
Yeah,
Look at it
it's
now.
fair. Movement speed is really, really important. What about you, E-Mini? What is your favorite unit of the race that you hate? I actually don't even know which is your hated race. What is your hated race?
Historically, it's Zerg.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question. Would it mean like my favorite, as if I would want to have that unit with Protoss,
No,
or
just your
the
favorite.
unit that I like in
Just your
Zerg?
favorite. No, because if it was like the unit you'd want to have, it would just always be the Baneling for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. You just A move all of them. They're all pretty boring. I don't know. No, I really, I guess just theoretically, like lurkers are just kind of interesting in general, because I always thought they were cool in Brood War specifically, like the just general how lurker ling worked, how like you would actually just kind of like bum rush people and like try to get us around and like actually burrow in time to get on top of them and stuff. I always thought that was kind of cool. And then when they actually added it to SC2, I was like, oh, cool, we can see some cool stuff like that. You know, like hold position lurkers are kind of cool, like some cool tactics you can do. But now I just play against them and it's impossible to break them, and I feel really bad. So I don't know.
All right.
Not really. I'm not actually that salty.
Well, it's the same unit. Like, come on.
My-
Now they
I like-
can burrow in 1 second. What is this?
Yeah, the upgrade is garbage. Fuck that.
Yeah, it is a little bit silly. It takes away so much of what makes the lurker more balanced. It's kind of a weird upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, my hated race would probably be Brood War Protoss, I guess. I think
You
it
think?
might be. It might
think so?
vaguely be
You
that.
guess.
Um,
I have about 5,000 examples
Yeah.
to say to prove that.
Protoss players are skill, man.
Oh yeah. No, they definitely are. It's impressive. I think the Reaver is very interesting from Protoss. I think it's maybe across both
Interesting.
Starcrafts, the Reaver is it might fill the most interesting role amongst both Starcrafts because it's like almost only a harassment unit, and it's got like a lot of very, very different uses that like, the uses change throughout the game, like what you can use it for, like defending a base or like slowing a push or harassing somebody or even late game against Zerg or, I don't know. Yeah, I think the Reaver is probably the most interesting Protoss unit.
Interesting is the
Yeah.
word he uses. I'm sorry, I cannot.
It's
Are you sure there's not a different word you would like to use?
Well, I mean, the fact that you can literally go Reaver to harass me with and slow my pushes and stop my pushes and take 3 Nexuses at the same time is like, it feels unfair occasionally.
Oh
right.
my god. What about arbiters? How do you feel
no,
about
I hate
arbiters?
that unit. It's the fucking stupidest unit ever made.
Just EMP it, man.
Anytime any StarCraft 2 Terran complains about
Just
Protoss,
EMP
I'm
it, you
just
just
like,
click
guys,
on it.
just yeah, EMP it. How'd that work for you, Special? Fucking Tasteless recalled you
Hey,
90 times.
dude, but like you could like dodge the EMP. That's so skillful, dude. Oh my god, like he like saw where it was going. He like did some trigonometry and like pow, he's like out of the ways, and then
The EMP is such a
parkour.
hard
We're like
thing.
no.
That you throw it and there's like a delay. I don't know. It feels like it's delayed. So you
Oh
just
yeah, there's a huge delay. The little thing on the top of the science vessel has to point to where it wants to shoot, and then it's also the
Yeah, so like
slowest
you can't.
projectile spell that there is.
Yeah, so you have to be really precise about how you dodge it. You know, you have to really make sure you don't do it too early because then you know you have to wait for the thing to turn around. Oh,
All you have to do is click
I
it
love it.
anywhere other than where it's already going. The only time a Terran player hits an EMP, and the thing is, Terran will sometimes be like, he's gonna click it to micro it, and then you'll like do a preemptive EMP towards there, and then they're just so bad they don't even fucking tell it to move, so you miss anyways. You got to take into consideration how terrible your opponent is when you're trying to EMP.
That happened to me sometimes.
Oh
I was
my
really
God.
Yeah. No, you see, Special's been playing. He's been playing. He knows. He's like, oh yeah, no, he's just fucking. You can't hit it. It's impossible. Okay. Thank you, Paulie, for the question. All right, moving on. Our very own maker of This Week in Starcraft show notes, Alessandro asks, I love GSL versus the world, but if I see Korea versus EU/NA every week, is it losing that specialness? Also, Koreans aren't blocked from most of the many smaller tournaments around the world. It may not be a lot of money, but it is money and sometimes a pizza or some chicken wings. Yeah, that is true. It's funny to see how few Korean players will play in some of the smaller cups, but what do you think about like seeing Koreans versus EU and NA too often? Because that's always been one of the big storylines that brings in viewership and excitement.
Well, that's because they got invited to the season finals. So I guess that's where we're going with this. Well, it's just I don't know if they noticed, but there's like this pandemic going on, so they cannot be a GSL because their word.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying like, do you feel like if we see too much of Korea versus EU and NA, does that take away some of like the viewing pleasure? Because it is it's like a special event, right? When we get like Koreans battling foreigners a lot of the time. Like you said, right? When you play in GSL, the views go up.
Right.
This is an argument that people brought up a lot back when region locking was originally a thing, and I always thought it was a stupid argument. I will always get hyped about Korea versus EU or NA no matter what.
Okay. Well, you're like a super fan, right? Like those of us that are on the Pylon show, we just eat up StarCraft all the time. So like we're not.
But like
maybe
even
good
more
examples.
specifically, I will always tune into a Korean to see them dumpster some foreigners. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think maybe I am the minority, but I didn't think it was the greatest
I
argument.
promise that you were the minority, but
thank you.
Does it take away the
well, maybe the
specialness,
other way around.
Maybe
the other way around. Everyone else would be wanting to see the Korean get dumped.
What about you, Special? Do you? Because I actually agree with Gemini, where I'm like, no, I'll watch that all the time. I have no problem. I will watch, fucking whatever matchup you want to name. The Koreans versus the foreigners. I love it. But Special, do you think it takes away any of the specialness?
For me, it doesn't matter. I don't really look at it that way, so I don't care. To be honest, I just
I think we're the wrong three people to ask about this.
Yeah,
honestly,
someone put a poll in the chat.
I think it's a real question
it
for
is.
fans whether they grow tired of it and it's not as exciting anymore. And I would imagine that the answer is yes. But for us personally, the answer is no. It's great. The highest quality StarCraft you can give it to me all the time. That's what I want.
Basically.
Yeah.
Someone make a poll in the chat. Can mods do that? I don't know.
You can check if you can.
Someone do it. If you can do it, do it.
All right. We'll see if anyone that's mod does that. But going forward, Rubby asks, Fear Dragon asks, I'm personally in the camp that it's okay if there are fewer full-time players, Korean and non-Korean, as we approach a less certain future post-2022. What kind of changes could be made to be more friendly to players who are full-time in StarCraft 2 transitioning to part-time, or just part-timers in general? That's a really interesting take, actually. I don't mind this take at all, where he's like, he's thinking it's totally fine for the pro scene to shrink in preparation for 2022, right? Like games can provide different amounts of pro gamers. Different games can. That's a fact of life, of course. What do you guys think of that? What changes could be made to be more friendly to players who are transitioning to part-time from full-time StarCraft 2.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
I don't know if I can really make it clear, right? Like, if there's going to be less people who can professionally make a living, is there some way to ease that transition? So, like, if B-level pros simply can't make a living anymore, is there some way that we can adjust things so that even though they can't make a living doing this, they will still enjoy to compete some, to still be around and be good players and stuff?
Gemini?
I'm sorry. I've been trying to get this count stopped in the chat right now. I'm not paying attention.
Stop the count.
We're saying that, like, try to get it so that way if in the future less players are playing, but that's okay. But how can we make it so they can transition to being part-time but still being good, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, Gemini.
It's a great question.
It is.
Special,
It's a
what do you think?
question. Well, he just asked you what you think. You guys are fucking terrible at this.
Well,
I have to think about it.
the
Let me give me
idea.
some time to think. Let me think.
Hmm.
But so like the question is like what? So like the question is, will the skill level change? Because if you have everyone being part-time, then obviously there will be a decrease in skill. Correct? There's no way you can keep.
No. I
Right?
don't think that's no. If you're still playing,
Really?
if you still play regularly, even though it's not full time, skill will continue to rise, but not as quickly.
So it will plateau quicker.
No, I don't think that's the right way to look at it either. It takes longer to come out of a plateau. Like, people always are plateauing. That happens all the time, right? And people go through dips and peaks and stuff like that, of course. But it's like with Brood War, you see people are much less full-time than they used to be, but the overall skill level is higher. It's just not as high as it would be if everyone was still full-time pros. You see what I'm saying?
makes sense.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Whereas you can take another approach where you're like, that guy that wrote the terrible fucking Team Liquid article, where you're like, everyone's worse now than they used to be. And then it's like, you can just measure and be like, no, that's not true.
Yeah. Oh, how can you make it better for the people that are going to stop being
Yeah.
full?
Like a round of 24 GSL player that can't make a living anymore. Like, how do we? It's a good question. I think we don't have the answer is the answer to the question.
Yeah, I'd have to
What can I
really
do,
think
man?
about it. I can't
Go
come
donate
up
to
with
his stream or
something.
something. I don't know.
So yeah, the thing that first came to my mind is less so about tournament result wise, but more about general exposure with, and this would be assuming that Blizzard is actually still like doing things actively to support the players and stuff, but now that they distance themselves basically entirely, it isn't really possible. But like doing more things with streams specifically, maybe like to make it so that way if the players cannot be playing all the time, at least what they are playing maybe is streamed, and then that Blizzard supports that way. Like there was a lot of those Twitch Rivals things that were happening that were really cool a while ago. Some sort of like partnerships, like the war chest partnerships, where like you can get discounts on the war chest or whatever, or skins from using streamer creator codes, stuff like that. I know Call of Duty and a bunch of other games do that as well. Stuff like that could be potentially helpful, but that's a little bit more towards less towards the actual tournament and competitive side, and more towards just kind of like marketing, streamer content creation wise.
All right. Yeah, it's a very interesting point. Thank you, Fear Dragon. I guess we'll all have to think about that more because it looks like it is going towards that direction. Either way, we'll see.
Yeah, like it's just the way it is, man. You have to think more about your future. That, like, if the game was confirmed, not confirmed, but let's say, for a fact the game is growing and it's gonna keep going for a long time, then you can commit more time. But when the company literally tells you, "Oh, guys, we're giving it to ESL, but from here on, no more watches," without kind of,
Yeah,
you have to consider stuff like that. It's like
for sure.
playing is great, but life is also great, right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the question. A few more here. Grandpa Wacho asks, let's talk food because I'm hungry as fuck right now. What is the favorite food for a Zealot, Zergling, and Lady Banshee? And what is your favorite main dish and dessert? I personally love tacos al pastor, kimchi jjigae, and Nutella crepes. What's your favorite foods and main dish and dessert, guys?
Well, didn't he ask also for the units?
Yes,
Pretty
and the
sure
units' favorite food.
pretty sure the baneling's favorite food is literally every ground unit since it just kills them all anyway.
Zealots don't have mouths, so
yeah, that's that as well. They just photosynthesize the plants. You know,
sunlight,
so I guess when they're on maps like Lost Temple and stuff like that, they really like those maps, I guess. For me, favorite food, I just like pizza. I just like straight up New York style pizza. The thing that literally does not exist in Korea at all, and I'm always salty about it. What'd you say?
There's a few good pizza places. In fact, Jongja has one of the best pizza places I've heard. I haven't tried it yet though. I will get it from my friend. Which one it is?
I mean, I've had a couple around me that are pretty close to what I've done, what I'm used to. There's
a sick place in Gangnam too. I'll show you it sometime.
Cool, excellent. But like I've still yet to really get the true simple dollar pizza corner shop New York slice. You know, oh my god, I'm craving.
Have you had Monster Pizza? Monster Pizza up in like the Hongdae area?
I thought, is that the one in? Is it by Itaewon? Is that the one in Itaewon? There's one in Itaewon that I had last year that was pretty damn close. It was really, really good. But
no,
I don't think I've had Monster Pizza. But I love pizza.
Okay,
I just love pizza.
Monster Pizza, I think, is what you're looking for. It's those like cheap big ass slices that are so good.
Nice. You go to Honda, man. Go across the country almost.
We're out here in the fucking like boonies, dude.
It takes fucking 20 minutes to get to Gangnam. We are not that far out.
I know.
Yeah, what a boomer you are.
Gemini lives right near me, guys. By the way.
I could literally bike to his house and the show wouldn't even be over yet. I could literally get there right away.
I went, you remember Slug, right?
Yeah.
I went to meet Slug in in Bundang. I think I messaged you. What are you doing? We wanted to go visit you and you didn't reply. I was really
me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh,
I don't do anything.
Called out.
I have 4
cancel
children,
Artosis.
And I play macro Terran. I don't have any fucking time for anything, man.
Against Protoss too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food, Juan?
Actually, lately, I changed my perspective about food, so I just eat whatever is good for you. But my favorite food, I think tacos, man. Honestly, I've been everywhere in the world, basically. There's just nothing like that, dude. There's actually just nothing like that. It's quite crazy to think about. And I feel bad for you guys because you guys never had real tacos. So
I've had real tacos. There's Taco Bell out here.
Tastes amazing. Yeah.
I don't even know what my favorite food is anymore. My wife cooks a big variety of stuff, and I fucking love so many of the different things she cooks. I guess fajita night is generally my go-to for favorite. Where it's like kind of build your own fajita. Yeah, she like makes all the stuff for fajitas, and I just put together what I want. So. All right, thank you for the question, Grandpa Watcher. You're making me hungry now as well. All right, we got 2 more questions. Some drunk Canadian asks, what do you love and hate about living in Korea, and miss and don't miss about home, which is America and Mexico for us? Sending much love from the side of the Pacific. P.S. Sign up for Max Packs versus the World. Right, yeah, Some Drunk Canadian always put on some great events. You can check those out in This Week in Starcraft. So what do you love and hate about living in Korea, and what do you miss or don't miss from back home?
Who's going first?
Gemini.
Okie dokie, thank you, Special. I'll give you the time to think. I know your big Terran brain needs it. Let's see. I think honestly, the actual one of the actual answers I give with being in Korea is, and this sounds hilarious, I love the subway here. Not like subway sandwiches, like the subway system. Like being able to literally go anywhere with like, I don't know,
like
$3 at
$2.
most. At
Yeah.
most. That's for
Yeah.
like, like 4 transfers. Like, and then
Yeah.
you're like an hour and a half away. Like you can go anywhere basically on the subway system, and it's so efficient, it's so clean, it's just beautiful. Like because I was in New Jersey, New York, and fucking subways there, fucking garbage. Like it's literally terrible, and that's probably the most extensive subway system we have in America. Like other than like I don't know whatever's over in Cali or whatever. So it's like, oh my god, or DC maybe, but subway system here is so fresh. I love it. It's so good. We're right on the Shinbundong line too, which is like opened like like less than 5 years ago, so it's like even more new. Oh my god, I love the subway here.
It is amazing.
I do miss just in general pizza. I miss that. I miss some food, just some general like comfort food stuff. Is that or just you just being like being like around like family or whatever, just so I can just have the luxury of just being like driving to my brother's house like or whatever or whatnot. Like all my family's really close. Like all my grandparents all live within 10 minutes of like me and my house and my family and stuff. So that obviously is a big one. Otherwise, I just love Korea. I actually just really like being here. It's very fun
It's awesome.
and interesting.
I agree. I love just about everything. I hate about living here. I honestly can't even think of anything. I just really, really like Korea. I guess I'm from New Hampshire, so like there was something very nice about like living in the trees. Like I could go out in my yard and just it would be quiet, and I could hear birds and leaves rustling, and like just stare into greenness, and like it's kind of very relaxing. I moved outside of Seoul and live in it's a suburb city, but it's still a million people, and I live in a 40-floor building. So like, but there are more trees, so that's nice. But yeah, I kind of miss that about the greenery and the. One day I will return to being a hermit and live in the woods without internet and shit. Like
That's the day that Protoss finally is announced to be buffed in Brood War, and he's just
Yeah.
like, I can't take it
All right.
anymore. He just
All
goes
done.
into hiding.
What about you, Juan? Anything you miss from back home?
Not really, to be honest. No, maybe the food is better, but as I say, I changed my perspective on food. We are nerds, man. We just stay home, home here, home there, home over there. They all the same,
Yeah,
Just
that's
home.
true.
What's the
All
difference?
right. Yeah.
I mean, my little box of a room is pretty small compared to the nice house that I lived in with my parents, of course. So like that is until
Well,
I'm here for a little bit longer and I can finally get a little bit of nicer apartment, then I do kind of miss just enjoying a
you
nice
mean, man? You don't like your 20
suburb
20
house.
cell?
What's up?
You don't like your prison cell?
No, I mean it works, but I could do better. I could enjoy a little bit better right now if we're being real.
All right. Excellent question. Thank you, Some Drunk Canadian. One last one here. Refrigerator asks, it was sad to see the Artosis stash die. Let there be a moment of silence as we mourn this loss. Are there any Korean pros, Brood War or Starcraft 2, that you think would really rock more facial hair in the same way Larva does? Just imagine Flash with a mustache. I think Losira would have been fantastic.
Dude, Lucier's the most manly person ever.
He is.
Holy shit, dude.
Like he would be wearing a leather jacket and he has the James Earl Jones voice, and I'm like, damn, man, you're so cool.
Dude, I always would think of him like he always was this like super tiny little like, back in like 2011 or whatever, he's like super tiny kid. He's got the massive helmet hair too. Like he looked like he's got this like super like, high pitched voice or whatever. Then I heard him talk in like 2016 GSL interview. He's literally just like fucking, yeah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. I'm just like, oh my god. Like who the hell is this person? It's fucking crazy.
Who could have appeared? And what about an Artosis mustache? Where did I go, man? Where did your mustache?
Yeah, man, you were rocking it.
I didn't like it. It was
you were rocking that, dude.
I like my baby face. I'm just gonna keep it like this. I could see zest in a mustache. That would be pretty sick.
Really? I could not.
Come on.
No, that would be terrible, I think.
All right.
I can't think of anyone. I don't know.
Well,
I want to see what Hearthstone facial hair looks like. I'll be honest.
Oh, that
I don't know
no,
why.
he's too handsome. You can't do that. No.
I mean, yes, but I'm just curious. I just want to know what it looks like. I don't know if it would be good or bad. I'm just curious.
All right. Thank you for the question, refrigerator. That just about does it for the show. A big thank you to all the Patreon supporters in our awesome $100 tier, Shane, Astrofin, and Jerry Wang. Big thanks to Shane for supporting at the God tier of 1,000 for a couple months there. Really appreciate that. Yeah, and we're thinking ways to reward Patreons. Yeah, and maybe we'll do some sort of party game type thing. I don't know if you guys have if patrons have any ideas for great rewards, let us know on the Discord.
You know what I just thought of? What if Neeb just had like a massive, just full on like lumberjack beard?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he could really be like, he's like the Thunder Shaft. Like he's got this massive beard. He's like walks up to a tournament with a fucking like pickaxe and like a one of the fucking red shirts and stuff. I don't know, something about that. That'd be kind of interesting.
I can get on board with that one. All right. Yeah, guys. Well, it was a great episode. Big thanks to the whole Pylon Show team. Really appreciate everyone who comes together and makes these shows popular. Possible.
Oh my god!
Oh wow! Look at that picture. Look at this Photoshop. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god!
What do I say?
Are you fucking kidding me?
That is. I don't know what to think about. That is kind of scary.
That's
I'm gonna be
amazing.
honest.
That's amazing. He would never lose another tournament.
Okay, that looks good.
Holy my god! I am scarred.
Wait, I need to send it. I need to send you this picture. Let me take a picture. I'm gonna send this photo. Maybe
send it to Zest. I want to hear his reaction. Like, what?
That is awesome. All right, that
Irish Zest.
Yeah, that does it, guys. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your points of view and your big sexy brains. Let's close out and just tell people where they can find more of you. Gemini, let's start with you. Where can people check you out, follow you, all that stuff?
Drop a follow at GGEmini19 on Twitter. I just spam out a bunch of memes. I at Team Liquid to ask them to sign Trap. By the way, Team Liquid, you should do that. I stream sometimes at Gemini SC2 on Twitch. I've been not doing it as much lately, just for I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it. But there's that. Also, YouTube Gemini_19. Amazing. I have a different name for every single platform. That's the worst marketing technique in the existence of the world, but whatever. I have a new video that I'm like in the process of making that I keep forgetting to actually finish, but it's like the mechanics of like precise and accurate mouse accuracy and stuff like that. How to use your mouse with Starcraft 2 and like how to actually get really good mouse accuracy, stuff like that. That's going to be up on my YouTube eventually. I hopefully, within the next week, this is me trying to guilt myself into doing it. So, hold me accountable.
I'm looking forward to the mouse accuracy thing. I actually had some talks with you about that. It was really interesting, your points of view and everything. So let me know when you have that out. I want to check it out.
For sure, yeah. So that's I don't know, that's me basically. You can look at me there. Always
awesome.
Shout out to All Things Protoss if you want to know how to learn how to play Protoss. There's a bunch of people over there on Reddit to help you out. And yeah.
All right.
Team Liquid, you should sign Chop.
All right, thank you much. Special. How about you? Where can people find more?
Okay, so here comes a big one. So you can follow me on my Twitter, SpecialSC2, my Instagram, SpecialSC2, my YouTube, Special TV. Believe it or not, I made a YouTube and it's gonna roll Artosis. It's gonna be a big YouTube. Just wait.
Nice.
The biggest you've ever seen.
You can also follow me on my Twitch where I stream daily, basically, which is special_ basically on Twitch. And I think that's also a place that you can follow my content and my stuff. And I just wanna thanks to my team Exxon for always helping me, and they always been very supportive. And so if you guys want to check them out, it's called Team Exxon. And yeah, thanks for having me here, Artosis. It's finally back after many time, but I'm back.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. All right, and that's about it. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back with the Pylon Show next week. We'll see you then.